Content warning. This episode contains discussions of suicide and sex trafficking, including minors. Listener discretion is advised. An enormous mansion in New York, another in Miami, jets, employees, charities, his own private island. This mysterious billionaire had it all and thought he was above the law, until brave victims and a bombshell news story blew the lid off the whole thing. Even with an arrest and indictment, will his victims ever find justice? This week's episode is Jeffrey Epstein, with updates. Sinisterhood. What a time.
Fucking sack of shit. Oh.
Just bury him dead and gone. We cannot, because we need the information.
Yeah, and also, is he even dead to bury? That's been a new thing that a lot of people are like, where's that missing minute of footage from the prison?
Yeah, yes. Welcome to our Jeffrey Epstein re-release with updates. We're going to get into that. That has been a jaw-dropping thing to know that full, raw, unedited video edited. We will tell you at the end. Back in 2019, we covered Jeffrey Epstein, and it was right after his death. There were still a lot of questions. Ghislaine Maxwell was at large. She was running loose. And since then, a lot of stuff has happened.
A lot of stuff has happened and is happening. Like
Currently.
You said before we started recording, you're like, Trump literally tweeted about this today. I mean, it's currently all over the place. And sadly, 6 years later, we still really don't have any answers. Just more questions.
Exactly. We will give you, we're going to play for you our 2019 episode on Jeffrey Epstein, which is his whole background, how he got started. And you would think, as far along as we are now, we're like, here is what happened next. But in fact, there are more loose ends than ever that we can't even get to in our update. But we'll give you the threads to pull yourself as well. But enjoy our 2019 episode right now and stick around for our updates. Jeffrey Epstein, professional dipshit.
Esquire. God. This motherfucker.
You done with it?
Dude.
Shut it down?
Shut it down. Well, I mean, he shut himself down.
He did. I mean, did he?
Yeah, that's a good point.
This was, this is a ripe one. New one.
It is a ripe one. I've been getting, even today, I get Google alerts of new articles that are coming out saying stuff. Some of it is,
restating.
Or just like not super important.
There was a whole article that was like, Jeffrey Epstein donated money to Harvard and got other rich people also to donate money. Okay.
The one today was about how he went on this huge campaign to have a meeting with Bill Gates back in 2013. And I'm like, what are you trying to implicate? Bill Gates is involved in this somehow? Like, who gives a shit? I'm sure people have meetings with Bill Gates all the time.
Yeah, Bill and Melinda write checks all the time. And if this,
I would like to start my campaign for my meeting with Bill Gates.
Same.
Okay.
You guys.
Bill Gates.
If any of you know Bill Gates.
Or Bill Gates, if you're listening, we would love to have a meeting with you.
Christy, let's be realistic. He's definitely listening.
Just pencil us in.
He's fully listening.
15 minutes is all we ask.
We could wrap it up in 15.
For sure.
Give us a 15. We'll wrap it up in 10.
I'm not even sure what we're having a meeting about, but we will wrap it up in 15.
We can wrap it up. We're professionals.
Yeah.
Give us one of these
light and we'll wrap it up.
One of the spinny finger.
Yeah.
Wrap it out. We can do it. You don't have to play us off. We don't even need music.
Nope. Or like on, man, what show? What was it? Showtime of the Apollo where they had the cane?
The cane.
I loved that cane. I want a cane for life.
For now, I'm not leaving anywhere unless I get cane. I get pulled by a cane.
I want a cane to carry around with me at all times. So if at any point I don't like what's happening, I can just pull someone off of out of the scene, scene of life.
My mom once hurt her foot, and she had a cane that would fold up to about the size, smaller than a water bottle. It folded up pretty small, so you can keep it in your purse.
That's
and
convenient.
She would unfold it and flip it out, and it would come out
like a whip.
She would point it at people, and we had to say, we're going to take the cane away from you. She's like, I'm not going to hit anybody. I'm just making my point. But it's very...
So she didn't use it. She just used it as a weapon.
She only used it sometimes because she rolled her ankle right before we went to the Backstreet Boys concert.
Oh, no. That's the worst time to roll
climbing on a chair. It was a whole thing. But she did keep this. It was a switchblade cane.
Yeah. Wow.
A switchblade anything is great. It's just more convenient. Like a flip phone was like a switchblade phone.
Yeah. A cane is a very large thing to flip out though.
You do need a
You gotta have like
radius.
3 feet where you got a clearing
3
of
foot
3
radius.
feet around you.
The safety zone.
Well, I would have liked to whip Jeffrey Epstein with any kind of
My hand.
cane, my flip flop.
Throw a rock at him.
Dude,
I just watched both It. I watched all It movies this whole weekend.
I saw it yesterday.
Good. I'm glad.
So we're good.
I tend to spoil movies on accident. We won't talk about it on the show, but in the first one, they throw rocks at people. And so I said,
They do.
Yes.
Yes, they do. Yes, I did like it.
Yeah.
I did like the first one better, though.
Okay.
That's my official
they were all very
review.
well made, I thought. Maybe because I watched the 1990s version and was like, oh,
No, they are well made, though. The special effects, especially in the second one, are very good.
Also, Bill Hader is a beautiful angel, and he's perfect in every role that he's ever had, and will ever have ever.
I did think one of his lines was problematic.
We'll say it off air.
I will.
Okay. But I will say, Bill Hader, since you are listening.
Absolutely.
We would like a meeting with
me
you.
before the show.
We need a meeting with you. 15 minutes. We can wrap it up.
Oh, yeah. I'll give Bill
as long as you want. 5, 10.
Elevator pitch. If I can get in a room with Bill Hader.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'd probably have a heart attack.
I would cry. I love him so much. I love him so much.
Well, this piece of shit.
We don't love so much.
No. And I told Heather off air, he's become like Ted Bundy became to me, where I don't want to hear his name anymore after this. He's too in the news. I mean,
Saturation.
Especially because, and it is so fresh that it's just every day there's stuff coming out about him. And he 100% gets a Golden Juice Award.
Yes, he is the
before we even get into it.
All-time worst.
He is the all-time worst. And I knew he was super all-time worst. I didn't realize how far back it actually went, though.
Yes. And also, the main villain in this story is Jeffrey Epstein.
Sure.
I think the henchman is just the federal government.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Until now.
And
when we
Alex Acosta.
And Alex Acosta, yeah. Until now, when we have the FBI and DOJ standing up saying, no, we're not going to take this anymore. No, we're not going to sweep things under the rug. But in the past, we will get into it, but there was... I'm going to go ahead and say massive corruption.
Oh, I ding, ding, ding.
I don't think I'm going out on a limb.
No, I will second that.
Yeah.
100%. Well, I'm Christy.
I'm Heather.
And this week we are talking about Jeffrey Epstein.
Professional douchebag.
Esquire.
That's right.
I like putting Esquire
it's great.
at the end of everything.
You have that right. You have the right to be an attorney.
Thank you.
It's in the Constitution.
Well, let's get into it.
All right.
Born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York, to middle-class parents Seymour and Pauline, Jeffrey Epstein was the oldest of he and his brother Mark. As early as 5 years old, Jeffrey showed signs of being advanced for his age when he learned to play the piano. Later, he would graduate from Lafayette High School at the young age of 16 after having skipped 2 grades, once again showing signs of high intelligence.
Fairly normal middle class Brooklyn upbringing.
Did you know anyone that graduated high school earlier, like skipped a grade in elementary school?
My cousin skipped 11th and 12th grade. She graduated as a sophomore. She's super smart. Did she like it? She loved it.
I would feel like I would have missed out on part of a high school experience.
She's been 30 since she was 12.
So she was ready to be.
I would
get into a corporate role.
Fully. She's done. I would babysit her when she was like 10 or 12 and say, "Oh, you want to play a game?" She's like, "We can go to Starbucks and get pedicures." I was like, "Yes, you're like a friend. You're like already in your 12." So she's always been on my level, even when she's little.
That's cool.
She's in college now, and she's doing like a quick a program where you finish your undergrad and your law degree all in one. She's super
on the
smart.
fast track.
Fast track to success town. And
good
like,
for her.
Go to law school and you too can have a podcast.
Yes. And arguably be miserable.
It's just a little bit.
I have never known an attorney that likes their job.
She did say she wants to do criminal defense. So I was like, I read Just Mercy.
I think I would like that. Well, I don't know about it would be very interesting to me. I'm sure it would also be very taxing.
It's time consuming. It's like but Just Mercy, highly recommend. Brian Stevenson, he invented the Equal Justice Initiative, and he gets people off death row and gets kids who have been sentenced to life without parole. So
that's very important.
That kind of job.
Very important work. Yes, you are changing lives. Upon graduating, Epstein enrolled at Cooper Union College in 1971 before transferring to the Courant Institute of Mathematical Sciences at New York University. But college life would not be for him, and in 1974, he left before earning a degree. After dropping out of college at 21 years old, Epstein found work as an educator and began teaching math and physics to young children at the Dalton School on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Students described him as, quote, goofy and one of the kids.
It's one of those, if you know now, if you knew then what you know now, you sure probably wouldn't let him be a teacher.
No, I think that's the last role you would want him in, or a coach of any kind of youth sport.
Or Boy Scout or a Girl Scout leader.
Girl Scout, Boy Scout.
Volunteer coordinator for a youth group.
Really anything around young children. You don't want this.
And this is horrifying because we don't know this. The seeds were, I'm sure, already in him, as we'll see.
And again,
you have no idea.
When things like this come out about a sexual predator, all you know are the victims that have come forward. But who's to say something didn't go on at this school?
Or something went on before when he was in college.
I mean, who knows when his
middle school,
when his predatory nature began.
Exactly. There's very little kind of about pre-Dalton school.
Right. And,
life.
You know, as more and more victims come forward, there's a good chance somebody from back then does come forward and we start to learn about it. But at the time when he was teaching there, as far as we know, nothing like that was going on. Dalton was an elite private school, and Epstein's problematic behavior was noticed even back then. Many students interviewed by the New York Times insist Epstein was not inappropriate with them. But others, like Millicent Young, who graduated in 1976, was quoted as saying,
"There was a real clarity of inappropriateness of the behavior, that this isn't how adult male teachers should conduct themselves."
So, I mean, she is saying there was something.
The New York Times article is very eye-opening because it does talk about how there weren't reports of inappropriate behavior, but there were students who said he would stand a little close to the girls.
Kind of like what we talked about in our last episode, how everyone had that. And we've gotten so many DMs about, did everyone have a substitute teacher that made them feel uncomfortable?
Like Fast Eddie.
Yeah. And then, so there was something in the guts of some of these students telling them something's not right about this guy.
It's interesting because several of those who would go on record were male students who said, no one ever told me that something happened, but I would see how he would stand a little too close to them in the hallway or put his arm up on the wall or whatever. So there was vibes.
Yeah, there were vibes being given off for sure. While teaching, Epstein met Alan Greenberg, whose children attended the Dalton School. At the time, Greenberg was the CEO of Bear Stearns, a once powerful investment bank based in New York City. Epstein expressed he wanted to work for Greenberg, and Greenberg, impressed by Epstein's intelligence and confidence, offered him a job.
My former days as an investment advisor and just general what I had to learn about from CNBC, watching that all day long. Bear Stearns was the big behemoth with Lehman Brothers. And then in the '08 crash, they both went kaput. And that was huge news that Bear Stearns had survived the original Great Depression, but it did not survive the Great Recession. So it was kind of like the big dog on the street. The big bear on the street.
The big what?
I said the big
bear on the street. Yes.
Which is funny because bear is bad. Usually a bear market means it's going down. The bull market means it's going up.
That must have been somebody's name then. Otherwise, probably. I imagine you wouldn't name your company.
I'm Todd Bear. Todd, we can't name it after you. People think it's going down.
I'm Shit Company. That's what we'll name it.
And Mr. Stearns is like, I'm very stern. We're naming it Bear. We have to.
All right, guys.
God, these two. Can't get rid of them. Bear and Stearns.
Well, in 1976, Epstein began working at Bear Stearns as a junior assistant to a floor trader. It was an entry-level position, but Epstein quickly moved up the corporate ladder and was soon advising billionaires like Edgar Bronfman, president of the Seagrams Corporation, on how to pay the least amount of taxes possible.
I have a moral question for you.
Yeah.
We all have to pay taxes.
Sure.
Is there anything wrong if you have a lot of money in trying to plan so that you pay every penny that you owe, but not any more? Do you think that that's morally reprehensible? Under the current tax code, the not very much money that very wealthy people have to pay, do you think if tax planning is morally reprehensible? There's not a right or wrong answer. I'm just curious.
Right.
Because I used to be like, that's bullshit, man. Pay your money. But if your fair share is not a lot, then...
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole, the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer adage, but... I don't know. That's a sticky situation. If you're paying at least what you owe, good for you. I think a lot of these people, in lieu of paying extra taxes, donate to charitable causes and stuff like that, which are tax deductible.
Correct.
But to still save face and look like, oh, look at all the good I'm doing for everyone. That's true. This asshole did too.
Yes.
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. Do you?
I don't know. When I first, like I said, before I got into the industry, I was like, that's we all have to pay our taxes. But You can go to a CPA and say, hey, where should I be? Should I refinance my house? Should I donate to a charity? Should I donate an old car?
Or what can I write off? Can I write off mileage? Can I write off, various things for, there's stuff we can write off with being like comedians that I didn't know about.
Damn it.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to see how you can, I wouldn't even say cut corners, just get the most bang for your buck, essentially.
I think that's what it is. But I think, at the end of the day, the tax code probably should be changed. You should pay a little bit more. If you are going to miss $2,000, that's rough for you. You should maybe get that back versus if someone's not going to miss $2 million.
Yeah. I don't think that someone who's in the 1% should, and somebody who's in the lowest tax bracket or income bracket there is should pay the same amount of taxes. I think it should be based on your income.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then in addition to what you actually owe, I think as long as you're paying your fair share, but I do think it should be restructured to where the 1% have to pay more, probably.
Yeah. Or everybody be like J.K. Rowling and just donate $1 billion until you're not a billionaire anymore.
There you go.
She's just giving it away.
It's like when these people have so much money, you can't ever use that money. You will die long before you could ever. Kim Kardashian will die long before she could ever spend all of the money she has. Does she set it up in trust for her kids and things like that and set them up for a good life? I hope so, because that's what I would do.
She buying a bunch of lipstick.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, she makes lipstick.
But also be generous with your wealth.
Yeah.
You can change lives with the money that you have.
Like on The Good Place when they're like, hey, you're poor. Here's $10,000. And she's like, you don't have to yell, hey, you're poor beforehand. You can just give them the money.
Right.
Isn't that Brewster's Millions? That's the whole bit that he what is it? He inherits it, but he loses it if he doesn't spend it.
I think he has to spend a certain amount in order to keep the inheritance. Yeah.
That's awesome.
In a very short amount of time, though.
Yeah. I'd be into that.
Man, I haven't thought about that movie in a minute.
That's an old one.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, man.
An oldie but goodie. Well, in a 1981 SEC investigation, Epstein was one in a web of financial professionals investigated for insider trading. He was politely fired by Bear Stearns by being asked to leave, and on March 12, 1981, he resigned. Despite this, he remained good friends with Greenberg and even stayed on as one of their clients.
No hard feelings. Sorry about the SEC investigation. Have a good life.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Also, insider trading is something you could explain it to me for a week straight and I still wouldn't understand. It's same with money laundering. I cannot understand. Is insider trading just when you are giving people knowledge of hey, you should sell or buy? Okay, that I understand.
So, and the thing is I have to benefit from it. So say my firm it represents ABC Incorporated, not they make widgets or whatever. They make cars. And I know that they're about to get bought out and their stock's going to go, it's $10 a share and the buyout's going to be for $15 a share. I could tell you, hey, you should go buy a shitload of stock in this company because it's fixing to be worth $15.
So what I would pay you for that information?
If you did, that's ding, ding, ding. What the SEC has interpreted it to be is that you like me more now. So my benefit is a emotional friendship benefit.
Which subconsciously will lead to you getting more business or me trusting you and...
Yeah, in theory. I think it's maybe...
Isn't that what Martha Stewart went to jail for?
Yeah, and they tried to take down Cuban and the cubes wouldn't fall for it. I don't think he insider traded and he had enough fuck you money to fight it. I think the fine was $300,000 and he spent a couple $1 million being like, no, I didn't do it.
So somebody told Martha Stewart what she should invest in?
I believe that's what happened.
She wasn't telling others what they should.
She was like, "Oh, I have cheesecloth."
I wish that she had. She was like, "My bowls are about to go through the roof."
What is that?
Where did she have an agreement with? Not Target.
Was it Kohl's? No.
Oh, no, I think it was what's that?
Kmart.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's that shit store that's not around anymore?
Blue Light Special.
Are they around? I haven't seen a Kmart in years.
They probably got liquidated. But Martha Stewart, that Anna Gasteyer, she's like, it's a fun Christmas dickie. And she's just shirtless. Such a good sketch.
Yeah.
So Martha Stewart was trading on fun Christmas dickies.
Well, I do understand insider trading. I don't understand money laundering.
Another episode, but we got this. You get it. You'll get it. You take the dollar and you put it in the washer with a Tide
That's what I've been doing, but no, I'm not making more money. It's just, in fact, I'm making less money and have a big mess now.
No, my washing machine is green and my dollars are white.
All my shirts are green, have green and blue ink all over them.
I can't even put them in the snack machine. Sinisterhood will be right back. If your dog could talk, they'd warn you about what's lurking in their bowl. Mass-produced kibble isn't just unappetizing. It could be a crime against canine health. Mysterious byproducts, unpronounceable preservatives, who knows what fillers. People sometimes want to avoid these things. And if you do too, we've got the exact type of dog food you got to switch to.
Ollie is here to crack the case on pet nutrition with fresh, human-grade meals made with the highest quality ingredients. No mystery meats, no artificial junk, just real, minimally processed food made in U.S. kitchens. It's the kind of clean eating that keeps tails wagging and noses sniffing for more.
It works super easy. First, you're going to fill out a 30-second quiz on Ollie's website. They're going to create a customized meal plan for you based on your pup's weight, activity level, other health info. Then you get expert recommendations. Ollie's going to crunch the numbers and tell you the right recipes and the daily portions for your doggo based on hundreds of thousands of real dog results. They're going to send you your welcome kit. So if you're a first timer, Ollie's going to send out your dog's first box with 2 weeks worth of meals and a guide on how to switch them over to their new diet. Then you can customize your plan along the way. There's 3 meal plans to choose from with Ollie. So you can go full fresh plan, fresh topper plan, mixed plan with their freshly baked recipes. Your dog's going to love it. They also have treats and supplements in addition to the food. The treats are mind-boggling for the dogs. They run at me.
Kate loves them. She loves them so much. And she loves all of the frozen food too. And we love the pup tainer that it comes with. So you can just sit it right in there. It defrosts right in the container. I love things that are meant for just that exact thing. So you know exactly where it goes, how to keep it. And it just... For me, it just makes me feel, it's like, it makes me feel like I got my life together, you guys. Really? When shit like this comes into it, I'm like, I do have my life together because my dog has a specific bowl for their delicious dog food that is only going to make them healthier and happier.
Absolutely. Plus, Ollie's the only fresh dog food that comes with unlimited routine health screening, so you can get your pup on track to living their healthiest, happiest life. Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Head to ollie.com/creepy and tell them all about your dog and use code creepy to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today.
Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/creepy. And enter code CREEPY to get 60% off your first box.
Sinisterhood will be right back.
In August of 1981, Epstein decided to start working for himself and founded J. Epstein and Company. Accounts vary as to what exactly he did there. At various times, he claimed to be recovering embezzled funds. At other times, he claimed to work as a consultant for foreign governments. To others, he was a spy. New York Magazine revealed that regardless of his real job, during this time, Epstein was connected with some unsavory characters, including Adnan Khashoggi, who acted as the middleman in transferring weapons during the Iran-Contra affair.
I would like to do an episode on the Iran-Contra affair just because I don't know what the fuck it is.
Put it up there with money laundering.
Yeah. I think George H.W. Bush was the head of the CIA and like traded, he was weapons laundering. They were trying to get weapons to Iran, and so they gave them to people in Nicaragua so that they gave them reverse.
So it sounds like you do know what it is.
Well, I watched CNN's I Love the 90s. It's not I Love the 90s. It's just called the 90s.
That's VH1.
Man.
Did you get CNN and VH1 confused?
Well, they both made shows about the 90s, although I was very annoyed during the CNN. There was no Michael Ian Black on any of it at all.
Oh, man.
Disappointed.
Yeah. I Love the 90s is great.
So good.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember Pop-Up Video?
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking Pop-Up Video the other day.
Pop-Up Video was great. I learned so much from Pop-Up Video.
So many behind-the-scenes facts.
Yeah.
But I like it this time. He started his own company, and they're like, what are you? And he said, an international man of mystery.
I am a spy.
Don't worry about it.
Thank you very much.
You know what spies always do? Tell you right away that they're spies.
Yeah.
Step 1. What do? I'm not a spy. I mean, I am. I am a spy. Oh, God. Oh, man.
Well, whatever he was doing, he made a ton of freaking money.
He did.
Well, it wasn't long before Stephen Hoffenberg, former owner of the New York Post, met the bright young Epstein and hired him as a consultant, paying him nearly $55,000 per month in today's money. The two planned on being corporate raiders, a popular concept in the 1980s where investment funds would make unsolicited bids for publicly traded companies. Once the bidders had enough shares, they would wipe out the board of directors, replacing it with their chosen candidates. Then, effectively, the company belonged to the bidder.
This was a big deal back then. And Carl Icahn is a guy that still does this today. So this is something that still kind of goes on, but most companies put in their bylaws or their charter that it's a thing called a poison pill. Like if someone comes in and in this amount of time buys up this many shares, then they can't nominate boards of directors for so many days. And it effectively
it's
makes
like a red flag
that
goes up.
And you kind of go like, oh, well, I really don't want to target that company because I want to go in and just take all the board of directors out, or at least a majority. And if it has that, you're kind of like, oh, I guess I'll just go something else.
I like a poison pill.
Poison pill.
Sweet-ass name for that.
The Macbeth prophecy or whatever. Yeah. They're very, corporate guys are very dramatic. They're
Well, because they have
raiders.
nothing. Yeah, that's the only drama they have. Is like, we're going to name this something very dramatic.
We're raiders.
Because our lives are so boring.
Or sharks and raiders and poison pills. And you're like, it's just a bunch of paper and you guys making money.
They're like, but it sounds really cool.
Sounds awesome. I'm a spy. You just got to say something to make yourself look cool.
The only problem with this plan was that the two couldn't get a raid right. Their bid for Pan Am, an airline, failed, as did their bid for Emory Air Freight Corp. It seemed that although they were taking in large sums of money, they never could execute a raid. Then in 1993, the firm itself was subject to a different kind of raid, one by the federal government that revealed it to be, according to the SEC at the time,
one of the largest Ponzi schemes in history.
A Ponzi scheme can be summed up as follows. A firm takes in money, promises great returns, then takes in money from even more investors. When early investors ask about their performance, the firm pays the early investors, quote, profits. But the source of those profits is new money coming in from new investors. In the meantime, the people working at the firm are living large on someone else's dime. To put it plainly, it is fraud.
Bernie Madoff, classic.
Yeah.
You just take money from Bill, put it in your bank.
It's paying
$5.
Peter to Paul, Piper, Polly.
And
What's
yourself.
that saying?
Taking from Peter to pay Paul.
Paul, yeah.
And then also taking a cut for yourself.
Yes.
I think at Bernie Madoff, he just had the money go directly to his bank account. And I thought no one noted, like no one said Chase Bank and it's in your name, but you have a debit card for that.
That is
balls.
Balls.
We gotta
Huge old balls.
We gotta do a Bernie Madoff episode. That's juicy.
Yeah.
That's a juicy one.
Juicy balls. Juicy old man
Bernie
balls.
Madoff's Juicy Balls. Available on this corner of Wall Street and Fifth Avenue. They come in all sizes, but they're all juicy.
And all corrupt.
That's right. They're filled with corruption.
Gross.
That's what makes them juicy.
They ejaculate corruption.
Just you'll have corruption dripping down your chin.
Bernie Madoff's balls, get them at any local stand on the corner.
Exactly. Quantities are limited. Some restrictions may apply.
Well, Epstein claimed he had no knowledge of this and was only a consultant. However, in July of 2019, Stephen Hoffenberg made a statement that Epstein was, in fact, involved in the Ponzi scheme. Well, I can't imagine he wasn't, honestly.
They paid him 55 G's a year. And
a month.
I'm sorry, 55 G's a month.
That's so much money.
So many dollars. And he, at the time, though, I think Hoffenberg was taking one for the team and said, oh, he's just a consultant. He doesn't know anything about it. Leave him out of it. So,
and now that, when everything comes out,
Hoffenberg, he spent his time in jail. I think he got out in 2013. And now it's just, I guess when Epstein got arrested, he was like,
fuck it. Taking everybody down with me.
Yep.
I mean, same.
Just burn it down.
Yeah. Well, throughout the 90s, Epstein amassed great personal wealth. By 1992, he owned the largest private residence in Manhattan, as well as his own private island, Little St. James, a 70-acre island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. He also owned a $6.8 million mansion in Palm Beach, Florida, an $18 million 7,500-acre ranch in New Mexico that he named Zorro, and a fleet of private planes and helicopters. He was also a beloved philanthropist, having donated $6.5 billion to Harvard from his foundation, the Jeffrey Epstein Fourth Foundation.
Did we ever? He didn't go to Harvard.
No.
Was he?
He didn't graduate from college.
They were hoping. He was like, maybe they'll give me a degree. One more billion. And
Alan Dershowitz, who is a famous lawyer and teaches at Harvard. I don't know if he still does.
He worked on the O.J. Simpson case.
Yes, he's worked on many famous cases. He worked on Epstein's case. They were very tight. And I think that may have played into just his role in the Harvard
his choice.
Yeah,
I'm dumping
the whatever.
Also, when you own things like private islands and ranches, you get to name them. I think Little St. James is kind of boring.
Yeah, Zorro isn't great either.
No, what an idiot. He sucked.
Fuck Island. That's what he should have named it.
On Arrested Development, Fuck City.
How are you going to weed out the prudes?
That's right. You're living in Fuck City. Something fun. I don't know.
Like Love Island. There is so much drama happening.
What's going on? What season are you on?
Oh my God. I'm on season 5.
Wow.
Which is the most recent one they've had.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm... They're like 50 episodes, so it takes forever to get through one.
That's so many
episodes. Because they film every night. They have an episode every night they're in there.
Wow.
But the guys just came back from Casa Amor, which is when they introduce a second villa. And then they split up the guys and the girls, and then they bring in all new guys and girls. And so it's like, are they going to be, head's going to be turned? Is somebody going to recouple? And then if you recouple with someone else, the person you were in a couple with either goes home or they're just single.
Oh, man.
And this one guy recoupled.
Oh.
But the girl he's with was the worst. And I was like, hell yeah, get away from her.
She's out.
She's the worst. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
A lot of drama.
Man.
I tried to explain it to Tommy the other day because he just like was eating something. So he just sat down to watch what I was watching, and I kept pausing it. And I could just see him being like, I know I'm never going to watch this again. I don't care about any of these people.
Please stop.
But he would like ask questions to try and be engaged. He's like, so, because I was like, the most awkward thing I've ever seen on reality TV just happened. And I like broke it down for him. It was really awkward and really sad. This guy was like in the recoupling ceremony, or to see if when the girls come back from the other villa, they don't know if their guy has recoupled with someone.
Well, I'm sorry. So you not only get rejected, but you get rejected publicly in a ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
This is my worst nightmare.
Yes.
It's one thing to get dumped.
It's brutal.
Via text message on a trolley behind a dumpster. All ways I've been broken up with. Not a text message, I'm sorry. Via a tweet on Twitter.
Nice.
But a public ceremony.
Yeah, it's public ceremony.
I can't.
Well, she was waiting.
Poor baby.
She was off camera, waiting to come in to see if he had chosen her, chosen someone else. And he had not, but he tried to.
Oh.
And he's standing there talking about how he thought he really liked this girl, but just these few days have made him realize he's lying to himself and he's lying to Amy, and they just have a lot to talk about and work out, and he just hasn't been himself. And like everyone there knows what's happened. They're all listening to this.
But Amy doesn't know?
No, and she walks in and she sees he hasn't chosen another girl. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so happy. I thought you were going to choose someone else. I've missed you so much. And everyone is just like, it's crickets, because they all know what he just said. And she's just gushing over him. And then she sits down next to him and he just goes, we need to talk later.
No.
And the color just drains from her face. She's also the worst, though. So I kind of was like secretly rooting for this.
Get rid of her. Oh, yeah. That's still mortifying. So
that's everyone's Love Island update.
It's mortifying. Season 5.
Yeah, season 5. Amy's the worst. Tommy's my favorite.
Of course.
Yeah, he's also. My God.
Is he hot?
Oh my God.
What's his name?
His name is Tommy Fury.
That's not a name.
It is. His brother is a famous boxer. And he is a boxer, too. Whatever you're about to look up, don't give me any spoilers, because you're probably going to see if he won or not. And
I just want to see a photo. Oh, shit.
When he walked into the villa, it was a slow-mo walk-in, and my jaw legit dropped, and I just went, my God.
I'm sweating a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sweating just thinking about him. He's very good looking.
Oh. Sometimes you get a guy with a body like this, and they're a butterface.
No, he is not.
He is
a butter that I want to slather all over my everything I eat. Yes. Stick it in my mouth.
Oh, there's a picture of him with a little elephant.
Oh.
And a little toy. It says, we do not.
Oh, yes. Okay, that's Ellie Belly. That's the girl he's coupled up with has a little stuffed toy.
Who's the girl he's coupled up with?
Right now, currently, her name is Molly May. But I don't want to look at your face, because I don't want you to get away.
I just wanted to.
She's pretty.
I just saw a picture of an elephant. I would hope that it was a lady.
He's coupled up with that elephant.
Furry. He's like, me and Ellie Belly will be very happy together. Leave us.
Oh, man. He probably would. He's like so legit nice, though. He's not just hot. He's like got a really good heart. Anyways, back to someone that doesn't have a
Sorry,
good
we
heart.
need an emotional break from this dipshit.
Yeah, sometimes
we haven't
you
even
do.
gotten into the worst stuff that he's into.
Gosh, we haven't.
All right, so it's the 90s. He's super rich. He's
super
got
rich.
a friggin'
He's got
island.
a ton of islands and planes and all sorts of shit.
He owns a bunch of stuff that he doesn't even deserve because he can't even freaking name it right.
That's true. Good point.
I've been making a list of things that are illegal, and if I was in charge, it's dumb stuff like people saying it is what it is, or two people in a revolving door at the same time.
That's just dangerous.
Conference calls going more than 10 minutes over. It's illegal. You're going to jail.
Yeah.
In this case, owning an island and naming it a dumb name, that's also illegal.
It's illegal?
It's illegal.
I also have a list that I've been keeping in my head pretty much since I was in elementary school of if I was in charge, things that would be illegal.
Yes. What was on your list?
Oh, gosh, man. I'll have to think about it. But, public gum chewing.
Oh, yeah.
would be one. Anyone goes to jail if that's happening.
Someone was chewing gum the other day, and I just thought, oh, I hate you in your mouth. I hate you in your mouth so much.
Yeah.
And I rarely am like that. I remember why I was in such a bad mood. I could have punched him.
Yeah.
But I just didn't say anything. I was just like, it'll be over soon. He's got to run out of flavor soon. He's going to spit it out. It was one of my coworkers. I was like, surely he'll spit it out. Surely you can't hit people at work. You can't do it.
No.
Can't do it.
You can't. That is actually illegal. If you hit someone at your job.
It's true.
Well, just as well known as his wealth was Epstein's guarded personal reputation. He prided himself on playing his cards close to his chest, preferring to remain a mystery to his elite friends and business associates.
I'm a spy.
In an interview with Vanity Fair, the former CEO of Tiffany & Co. in the UK, Rosa Monckton, said of Epstein,
"You think you know him, and then you peel off another ring of the onion skin, and there's something else extraordinary underneath. He never reveals his hand. He's a classic iceberg. What you see is not what you get, much like Shrek the Ogre."
Is this from...
He's an onion.
Sure. Oh.
Just kidding. She just was saying that about it, but when I read that, it made me think of the ogres are like onions.
Yeah, I think so. I recently watched Shrek, but I don't remember that. But I'm always kind of half watching the shows that are on when I was watching them.
You can't, there's not enough, like, you can't watch every kid show.
I have watched them all. It's just at some point I got to tune it out.
Yeah. Eventually you need to filter it.
Yeah. Epstein was a jet setter, traveling the world with Ghislaine Maxwell, daughter of Robert Maxwell, a British media mogul and former member of parliament. Mr. Maxwell was also a fraudster, lying about the profitability of a company while trying to sell it.
Kind of inverse insider trading. He was trying to pump up the figures while he was trying to sell off one of the publishing companies.
Ghislaine moved to the U.S. in 1991 after her father purchased the New York Daily News. Her father accompanied her, but soon flew to Moscow on business. In November of 1991, Robert Maxwell's body was found floating in the sea near the Canary Island, near his luxury yacht named for his daughter. For years after her father's death, Maxwell maintained he was murdered, likely due to massive fraud and embezzling of pension funds discovered after Robert's death. However, the official cause of death was accidental suicide.
Pretty much anybody would listen to her. She said there's no way, he didn't do it, he would never do that. But there was something like 400 million pounds of stolen. And so it's maybe when you get wind of an investigation, you think, well, I'm not going to make it out of here.
So they were saying he perhaps got drunk and fell overboard and accidentally killed himself or something like that?
The officials say he jumped off probably because he was going to be an investigation. She says a lot of bad people were after him. I think he got murdered.
So if the official cause of death was accidental suicide.
Oh, yeah, that maybe he got wasted or crashed the boat or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back in New York, Ghislaine Maxwell worked in a real estate office and hung out with the likes of Ivanka Trump and the son of Adnan Khashoggi, the Iran-Contra weapons dealer. It was around this time that she met Jeffrey Epstein.
Boy, it sounds like a round table of winners.
Wow.
We got Ivanka. We got Adnan Khashoggi's son. We got Epstein. We got Ghislaine.
That is a motley crew.
Hi, everybody. My name's Ghislaine, and my father's a criminal. Hey, welcome, Ghislaine. Us too. All of us. Except for Epstein's like, oh, no, I'm actually
Maybe that's why it was a criminal father group. Yeah.
They met in the basement of a church. There were cookies and punch.
Yes, and they all played cards.
Yes.
By 1992, Maxwell was well ingratiated into Epstein's life. She would hire, fire, and supervise his staff. The two clearly had some type of romantic ties, but would never outright confirm the nature of the relationship. In Vanity Fair in 2003, author Vicky Ward reported that Epstein called Maxwell
my best friend.
But at the same time, Maxwell was fraternizing with Prince Andrew, Queen Elizabeth's second son and former husband of the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, a.k.a. Fergie.
The OG Fergie.
The OG Fergie, man. This guy was also a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Real hound dog.
A little bit of a free-for-all when you're the second son of the queen.
Yeah. Well, in March of 2005, a disturbing picture of who the mysterious billionaire might really be began to take shape when a distraught mother in Florida went to police claiming that her 14-year-old daughter had been molested by Jeffrey Epstein at his Palm Beach estate. According to the young victim, one evening a fellow female classmate at Royal Palm Beach High School took her to the mansion. The classmate then proceeded to tell the girl she would give her money if she gave Epstein a massage. Local police began an investigation, which included digging through trash bins Epstein had left at the curb outside his home. In the trash, police found an incriminating piece of evidence, a phone message for Epstein with the victim's name on it, time-stamped at the same time the victim told police she was there. As investigators continued to sort through the trash, they discovered more phone messages with more numbers of young girls.
As the cops, you just have to think, oh, God, this is even worse than we thought.
Going through people's trash, you learn a lot. Dude. That's how they got Golden State Killer.
Mm-hmm. Leaving stuff by the curb.
Man.
They don't think.
You don't, yeah. Well, he wouldn't think because thinks he's so above the law anyways that this wouldn't be an issue. But it is interesting that anything you leave out on the curb, even as you and I, is public domain.
True.
I mean, have you seen The Burbs?
Yeah, they just dig on through it. I wonder, because later on a butler flips on him, right? I wonder if any of them thought, well, let's just take all these and put these in like the trash right by the curb.
Blackmail him?
Or not, or just think maybe the cops will find him. Like I can't go to the cops because I'm scared of him and I'm scared for my job. But if I just put him by the curb, maybe they'll find him.
Had an inkling someone was investigating. Investigators began contacting the girls and asking them about their relationship with Epstein. Time after time, they heard that Epstein had allegedly paid these girls, some as young as 14, to give him private massages at his New York and Palm Beach mansions. According to the victims, Epstein sexually assaulted and molested them during these encounters. He would then offer them money in exchange for finding him other young girls. In an interview with Fox, Courtney Wild, one of Epstein's victims, said,
"He told me he wanted them as young as I could get them. It was never enough."
I've seen pictures of some of these girls, and they have braces.
They're so little.
And it's just, when you have a kid, you see, like, your kid and everything, in all of those situations. They don't, and last night I was saying to Tommy, I was like, they don't even look like women. They look like girls. And he's like, I think if they look like women, he wouldn't have wanted them.
That's what she said, as young as it could get.
He wanted them to look like girls. That was what he was into.
That was part of it. And also I think I don't think a reasonable, rational person would look at a 4'5" girl that weighs 90 pounds and has braces and say, oh, well, I thought she was 19.
Right.
There's just no way.
Hell no.
There's no way.
Members of Epstein's staff were also interviewed, who told police their employer had numerous girls come to the house at all hours of the day. Armed with a substantial amount of evidence, police obtained a search warrant and on October 20th, 2005, searched Epstein's mansion on El Brillo Way. The FBI collected mounds of evidence against Epstein and identified over 30 victims from New York, Florida, and New Mexico. For the next 2 years, the U.S. Attorney's Office went back and forth with Epstein's powerhouse legal team in attempts to negotiate a plea deal.
I think that very first victim that reported it, that was just the tip of the iceberg. And once the investigation started going on, it was that. Can you just imagine being an investigator and just sick to your stomach thinking there's more, there's got to be more. And, even if you have 30 victims.
And imagine how many more there are
130
in addition to that.
And you can't even find them. That's, man. He really, and he had a racket going in all 3 states. Yeah. With his jets.
There's, definitely way more than 30. Well, then in August of 2007, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, Alex Acosta, entered into direct discussions regarding the plea agreement. Meanwhile, the victims, who had yet to see their day in court, were continuously told the, quote, investigation is ongoing.
They kept, don't be patient. We're working it out. We're working
totally
it out.
In the dark. Alex Acosta knew one of Epstein's defense attorneys. That attorney, Jay Lefkowitz, scheduled a meeting with Acosta at a hotel room. just the two of them, 70 miles away from Palm Beach, that resulted in Epstein's eventual plea deal. The Miami Herald reported that the sex trafficking charges against Epstein spanned nearly 53 pages in an early draft. However, after the meeting at the hotel, Acosta decided to reduce the charges. Rather than the federal sex crimes, Epstein would plead guilty to state prostitution charges.
This is just... Okay, so...
This guy is a monster.
On one side, someone would say, that's no big deal. It's a defense attorney talking to a prosecutor. However, there's other... Alex Acosta is the chief, he's the head, right? He's the U.S. attorney. So he's got a bunch of AUSAs, assistant U.S. attorneys working underneath him. They've got investigators and staff working underneath them. Normally, a plea deal would be held in the U.S. attorney's office or in the defense attorney's office with multiple members.
Not in a hotel room 70 miles away from everything.
One-on-one.
Yeah. With no cameras.
No recording.
No witnesses.
Just probably a steak and a bottle of red wine.
I was going to say, a bottle of Jack.
And a fat handshake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on June 30th, 2008, Alex Acosta signed off on a plea deal for Epstein that let him get away with only a sex offender registration and 18 months in jail, of which he served 13. In addition, Epstein pleaded guilty to 1 count of solicitation of prostitution and 1 count of solicitation of prostitution with a minor under the age of 18.
Let's recap. He has repeatedly assaulted at least 30 children.
Underage girls.
At least. And yet, the plea, and he's done it across state lines in his jet.
Multiple state lines.
With helpers, which we call that conspiracy to commit sex trafficking. And I'm sorry, you agree to let him plead to solicitation, which doesn't even mean you had sex with a prostitute.
It means that
you asked for it.
You asked a girl. It's saying it was consensual.
Well, and you say, would you like some money and we'll have some sex, adult?
Yes. The fact that, count and then 1 count of asking a minor under the age of 18 to have sex with him. 1 count.
Aghast.
So 2 counts each.
This is what we call
13 months in jail.
Special rich people treatment.
Yes. Special rich white people treatment.
Yes. Also that.
Well, typically 13 months in jail is no cakewalk. Unless you're Jeffrey Epstein. In this Palm Beach prison, according to the Miami Herald, Epstein was allowed to leave the jail on a daily basis for up to 12 hours per day and continue life as normal in the jail's work release program.
Well, that sounds nice. He gets to work. He's a productive member of society.
Get 3 meals a day.
Christy, what was he doing while he was away?
Well, further investigations revealed that these work days were filled with even more sex with at least 2 women. The tryst occurred at the offices of his organization, the Florida Science Foundation. Caitlin Doe, the woman who sued Epstein in August of 2019 for acts that occurred in years prior, alleged that Epstein
was quite literally able to commit federal sex trafficking offenses at his work release offices during his jail sentence. The real unsavory thing, too, is when you're on work release, you don't just get the keys to a car. A deputy drives you around and supervises you. So did the deputy turn around? Did the deputy get paid? Did the deputy get tricked? The old switcheroo, and they trick him into one room?
I'm going to go with option B, which was he got a fat stack of cash for turning the other cheek.
Man, that's crazy to think. What's your integrity worth? We had this conversation.
Yeah, we have had it several times.
Yes. You just can't live with yourself.
I couldn't.
I mean, some people.
I think some people, I don't know. I feel like people that do those types of things, when they're going to bed at night and it's just them, they've got to think about it and think, man, I'm a real piece of shit. But then the next day they get up and go out to their freaking Maserati and drive to work. And they're like, all right, it's another day.
I mean, think of this. Think of Jeffrey Epstein overall. He knew what he was doing was wrong. He hid it.
Yeah. If you're hiding it, you know it's wrong and illegal.
Yes.
Regarding Epstein's 13-month sentence, the Miami Herald said it is
one of the most lenient sentences for a serial sex offender in U.S. history.
Let's let that sink in for a second.
Most lenient sentence
in U.S. history.
And he was a serial sex offender because I found documentation as early as 1999 and as late as now, like as late as 2018, that this was still going on.
Yeah.
So he had decades attacking women, attacking children.
Underage and women and
adults,
underage
adults
girls.
as well.
Yeah.
But both. He had decades of being a sex predator, and they let him not go to jail for real. They let him sleep in a jail and
sleep with a bunch of women.
Attack people during the day.
Yeah.
This is not a great look for this
I don't
Miami
think so.
prison. Yeah. But I will say, and we've quoted it a bunch of times, the Miami Herald, this is just,
they've got a whole series called Perversion of Justice. That's what really blew the lid off of everything that kind of happened back then. Julie K. Brown is the author behind the series, and she does a phenomenal job. It is, I think, 6 or 7 parts, maybe. It's worth the read, though, if you want to really like dive deep, because we're scratching the surface. Heather and I said off air, we could do an 8 episode on this monster.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's going to be several podcasts that come out and do just that.
Yeah.
So if you want to really deep dive into it, check out that Miami Herald series.
And it shows the importance of a journalist who says, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit. No, there is something here. And this man who just got appointed as the Secretary of Labor had his fingers all in this pie.
I hope she gets whatever kind of award.
Pulitzer, Peabody, whatever they get. Because she's like, no, I'm not letting this go.
Good for her.
Sinisterhood will be right back. This is an ad by BetterHelp. To battle stress, most of us can't wave goodbye to work, but we can start small with a focus on wellness. I love to go on a walk. I like to meditate. I also like to do therapy regardless of where I'm at. And that is why I love my BetterHelp therapist. It helps me de-stress.
Workplace stress is one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress. Don't forget that therapy can help you navigate whatever challenges the workday or any day might bring.
I have distinct memories of leaving the law firm office, going and driving to a parking lot and putting my phone in front of me and doing my BetterHelp therapy in my car because I could do it on my lunch break. And I was slammed when I was an attorney at that firm. Like I could not get away for an hour-long session, 30 minutes away, driving away. So I would just be like, I'm going to go grab something quick to eat. But really, I was just in my car being like, I can't go back in there. So thank God for BetterHelp that I could do it privately, like in a nice little corner of the parking garage and no one knew before I had to go back and face them.
For sure.
BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. Access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. Easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost, and it works. With an App Store rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client reviews.
Those are good statistics. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise.
Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/sinister. That's betterhelp.com/sinister. Sinisterhood will be right back.
So why did Epstein get off so lightly? Why would Alex Acosta accept such a low plea deal? According to American Lawyer, the answer lies in an old adage.
It's not what you know, but who you know.
Although it is normal for prosecutors and defense attorneys to meet, the Justice Department is currently investigating this specific meeting between Acosta and Epstein's attorney. Some ethics experts like John B. Harris, an attorney who specializes in ethics and white-collar crime, who spoke to Law.com, believe the location and circumstances of the meeting is what
will inevitably suggest special treatment in the public's mind and the appearance that Acosta was trying to hide his conduct. And it's true, he was doing it away from his staff.
So he knew he wouldn't,
cat covering up shit on a marble floor.
Is that a real saying?
You never heard that? Like a cat covering up shit on a marble floor. Because if a cat shits on a marble floor, cats like scrape
Yes, it'll just be everywhere.
Correct, yeah, you can't hide it.
I've never heard that. The other day
You never heard that?
In an improv show, we were playing the game, this game called Slips, where you get suggestions from the audience and you write them down on slips of paper. And then the people that are playing the game have to work it into whatever they're saying. And this man yelled out this aphorism. I don't know if he made it up on the spot or it was a real thing, but it was something to the effect of some people think you can't get fat off a grease pit or so. It was something even crazier than that. But I was like, can a Southern thing just anybody can make up a Southern aphorism?
Oh yeah, scooting a chair across the floor may leave a mark, but it'll get you where you're going. And you're like, I just made that up.
Yeah,
that's just not a thing.
You sniff a magnolia too long, you're gonna get flies up your nose.
That's right.
I don't know.
It's a really good one.
But anything can be anything.
Write us with your fake Southern aphorisms.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Just write them in.
I feel like they have to be it has to be Southern.
Yes,
too.
you have to say it in a country accent.
The book I'm reading right now, which is fantastic, Where the Crawdads Sing, takes place in North Carolina, and they're like in backwoods swamps, and they've got some really good ones too.
I love a good saying.
Yeah. Well, in July of 2019, amidst controversy and allegations, Acosta, who had since been appointed to Labor Secretary for the Trump administration, willingly resigned from his position. As reported by CBSNews.com, of his departure, Acosta said,
"As I look forward, I do not think it is right and fair for this administration's Labor Department to have Jeffrey Epstein as the focus rather than the incredible economy we have today."
Well, that's one way to frickin' circumvent the issue. Let's just talk about the economy.
What you should have said is, "I'm sorry that I was shitty at my last job and Leslie don't deserve this one." But no, people like to fell upward.
Yep.
And frankly, Alex Acosta looks too much like Ted Cruz. It's unsettling.
He does.
It's very confusing. Yeah. There was a picture of him sitting kind of sideways on a stage looking away, and I thought, why do they have a picture of Ted Cruz?
He kind of looks like a cross between Ted Cruz and Alan Dershowitz.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Like if they had a baby together. A weird love child.
A weird love child. But yeah, your apology. What you should have said there was that you're sorry for the thing you did, but you didn't do that.
President Trump went on to say Acosta was
a great labor secretary, not a good one.
He went on to defend Acosta's actions in the Epstein plea deal, saying that initially people were happy with the outcome, but then later changed their minds.
By people, you mean Jeffrey Epstein. He was super stoked.
I'll tell you what people weren't happy, and that's all of his victims.
They were real pissed, and they have been ever since the deal came down. This is not a new thing.
No. While Acosta did call Epstein's actions despicable during the press conference in which he announced his resignation, he never once offered a public apology to Epstein's many victims for the way things were handled or the abuse they endured. As CBS News reported, when asked if he would offer the same plea deal had this happened in 2019, Acosta replied,
"We live in a very different world. Today's world treats victims very, very differently. Today, our judges do not allow victim shaming by defense attorneys." This quote, to me, indicates that his argument, excuse, justification for his behavior would be that he feared that putting these 30 victims on the stand would then result in maybe Lefkowitz said, "We're going to say all kinds of stuff about these people.
We're going to destroy these women's lives, these girls' lives.
We're going to destroy all of them." And maybe Alex Acosta will argue that he was trying to save them. However, fuck you.
I don't buy it.
No. It's a great excuse to try to make yourself look good.
Yes,
to say,
because you're making yourself a victim as well. Yeah.
I did this so I could save other people. It's like, no, F you, man. You did that because that was your pal. And there's another quote from Alex Acosta, and I could find the source, but he said between 2008 and 2019, so before labor secretary stuff, someone said, "Hey, what was up with that plea deal? Right? Why'd you do that?" And Acosta goes, "Oh, well, some higher up in the DOJ kind of said, he's kind of an intelligence asset. So, don't say anything." So was that true? Is Acosta trapped between a rock and a hard place where you have our current—
Did Epstein pay him off?
Or our current administration, maybe our current administration or any of the previous administrations were tied up in this tryst that basically a message comes down from William Barr, the head of the Department of Justice, comes down and says, "I'm not going to tell you why, but don't fuck with this guy." So Epstein has photos of, who knows?
Oh, yeah.
Clinton
and Trump and Prince Andrew were all known to be friends with him. They all ran in the same circle. They flew on his planes.
To his island.
Records of them going to his private island.
Well, and who knows if he has photos of them? That's one thing. But what if he also has photos of Vladimir Putin or Kim Jong-un?
Sure.
Or some dictator they say.
And they're like, this is going to start a fucking World War III.
Well, and they're like, well, Epstein has the pictures. We can't, if he shows those pictures, it's fine. I mean, we don't want him ideally, you don't want him to show the president pictures, but if he shows those, he is an intelligence asset. And he may have made that known to any number of higher up people and say, they said all the Little St. James, his stupidly named island, was fully wired with video and audio.
I'm sure. I mean, he was a smart man.
Yeah. He was calculating.
I'm sure he was blackmailing the shit out of a ton of people.
So we're giving Alex
and had a ton of information on them that they were wrapped up in this too.
And we're giving Alex Acosta shit. And I think he is trying to save face for himself. But who's to say it wasn't corruption?
Shit runs downhill.
That it wasn't corruption, buddy. Him and Jay Lefkowitz were buddies in making this deal, which some places have made it sound like. But another quote from him said, hey, man, they said this is above your pay grade. Yeah. Don't fuck with this guy. And you kind of got to go, okay.
Yeah. And I mean, that could very well be true.
So I don't know.
I don't put anything past our government.
It's fun to freaking burn on Alex Acosta, though.
Well, the Palm Beach County Sheriff, Rick Bradshaw, is also being fiercely criticized and now finds himself the target of an investigation by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for his lack of oversight of Epstein during the work release program. Rather than work at his science foundation, Epstein seduced a young girl to fly to Florida where he had sex with her, all while being allegedly monitored by deputies from Sheriff Bradshaw's own office. And then there's the other two women that he's having sex with too.
So it sounds like he was
doing whatever. Nothing changed.
He wasn't really slowing down. He
just wasn't at his mansion.
Using his house.
Well, it wasn't until a month after Acosta had signed off on Epstein's plea deal that his victims would learn that this was the outcome and there would be no trial. Angry and in disbelief, they decided to seek justice in another way, through the Crime Victims' Rights Act. This federal law creates certain rights for victims, including allowing them to file lawsuits in court to overturn plea deals. The victims filed emergency petitions to try and force prosecutors to abide by laws set forth in the CVRA, but quickly ran into some roadblocks. One problem was Epstein did not enter into an actual plea deal. He entered into a non-prosecution agreement with the federal government. This is a deal that is struck before formal charges are brought.
So if you're charged with something, they say, do you plead guilty or not guilty? And then they say, if you plead guilty, you get this deal. Well, in this case, they say, we're about to charge you with all this stuff. This is all about to happen. And then an NPA is, well, we won't prosecute you if you do these things. So his NPA was, we won't prosecute you federally if you plead. In a way, it's a plea deal, but the agreement between Epstein and the federal government was a non-prosecution agreement versus the deal between him and Florida was a plea deal.
So it's all semantics, essentially.
It's lawyer speak.
Yeah, cover your ass.
So that was the government's argument. Well, it's not really a plea deal with us. Their argument can be with Florida, but it's a federal law. So they can only seek reprieve from or seek redress from the federal government.
When Epstein's victims filed suit arguing that they had a right to be informed of his deal and therefore had a right to overturn the deal, the government argued that because it was not technically a plea deal, the victims did not have the right to bring the suit at all.
They put forth the law. I mean, they were throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick.
Right. The government also put forth several other possible arguments that the victims could seek justice in another state because the deal only applied to southern Florida, where U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta was in charge. Crimes had also been committed in New York and New Jersey, so the government argued victims could go there to get help.
The other small technical problem with this was the non-plea agreement said we will not file charges in the Southern District of Florida, and will not file federal charges in the Southern District of Florida. It just said, we, the Department of Justice, will not file federal charges, but it was signed Alex Acosta. So they were saying, had this not ended the way it ended, that potentially Epstein's lawyers could argue all federal charges were barred by this agreement from way back when.
Interesting.
I think it would be for only the things that he'd done before that, because let me say.
But they would have been tied up in court for years.
Yeah, for sure.
Figure that out. Yeah.
I mean, you have Alan Dershowitz as your lawyer. It'll at least delay the inevitable.
Yeah. It wouldn't be until 2013 that a judge would disagree with the government and side with the victims in a hearing on a motion to dismiss. The judge interpreted the CVRA to apply to all deals, both plea deals and non-prosecution agreements like Epstein's. He also said that the victims had a right not to be lied to by prosecutors and to seek justice where they were located, in Florida.
Yeah, basically the judge said this is abhorrent behavior.
Good for him.
The while you after you struck this deal, the victims came to you and said, what's the status of the case? And you went, well, we're working on it. Let us know.
In negotiations.
And you fucking liar.
Yeah.
No. By then,
you boldface lied to them.
The ink was dry on the deal, by days or weeks, and they lied to their faces.
The judge did not, however, vacate Epstein's deal or issue a decision. After both sides later filed for summary judgment on February 21st, 2019, Judge Kenneth Mara ruled that the CVRA had been violated by the government and that the government had to work with the victims within 15 days to determine what remedy should apply, if any. The parties were deadlocked as of May 2019. In June, victims demanded an apology and that the investigation be reopened. The government responded that yes, the victims should have been made aware of the deal before it was entered into. But the government also claimed that it has discretion to prosecute someone or not. So the government argued that it did not have to reopen the case at the time. Additionally, all attorneys at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida are required to take training in the CVRA.
What's kind of the problem with the CVRA is it's a great statute if the case is kind of actively being pled, prosecuted. In this case, it's years later.
Yeah.
And so some of the only redress.
Well, in their defense, they tried to
forever
enact it within as soon as they found out about it.
This is the wheels of justice are crushing victims. I mean, this is just fully getting in their way. They filed emergency motions. They filed exactly when they should have.
As soon as they found out about it.
The government lied to them and told them it was cool. But luckily they had this judge that said, no, I'm not buying this line of malarkey from the government. In this case, the only kind of redress would have been to reopen the investigation. Mm-hmm. And then really the only punishment though, unfortunately, because you kind of have like prosecutorial immunity and stuff, is like, we'll do training so they don't do this again.
But would there have been, had this not ended the way that it ends, would there have been charges brought against him still, like federal charges or any kind of repercussions for him?
Could have been in Florida. So that was the two filings that were made. The judge said, go work this out amongst yourselves. Come back to me. They said, well, we're deadlocked. And the judge said, okay, well, what do you each want? And we'll try to find a middle ground. And the victim said, we want an apology. We want you to reopen the Florida.
Yeah, they weren't even asking for money.
No, they didn't want money. They're like, we want an apology and we want the Florida investigation to be reopened. And the government said, well, we feel bad for what happened. Non-apology.
That's
and also,
non-apology.
We have prosecutorial discretion. We think this case is old. We think we shouldn't have to bring it. We don't think a judge can force us to bring it. There's also arguments that could have been made on Epstein's behalf of double jeopardy or due process that this is, he copped a deal. Yeah. The deal's signed. The deal has been served. Can you charge him again for things that happened?
I mean, because as big of a piece of shit as he is, he didn't have anything to do with that part of it.
Well, the deal. He just paid a really good lawyer.
His lawyer. I mean, so the lawyers are the ones that should have penalties against them in whatever way or be charged with something. But I mean, he just got the good end of the deal of that. Well, in July of 2009, Epstein was released from prison and placed on very loose house arrest terms. He also had to register as a sex offender in New York and the Virgin Islands, where his private island was located. However, he did not have to register in New Mexico, where his ranch was located. It was at this ranch that Epstein reportedly had plans to carry out his most sinister desires. Mm-hmm. This makes me want to vomit. Heather's just shaking her head.
I have no.
It's vomit material.
As I was reading this in Fredericksburg, Texas, and doing some research with a cup of coffee by the little window, watching the deers run by, one of our friends that was with us, Sally, was like, "So, you know what he was doing at that ranch?" I said, "I hadn't read that far." She's like, "Go find the New York Times article."
Yeah.
And I sat there and I said, "I'm so sorry. I know we're supposed to be having a moment with you have to stop talking for a moment." And she goes, read it. And I sat there and was like, ugh.
Well, the New York Times reported, hearing from multiple sources, that Epstein wanted to
use his New Mexico ranch as a base where women would be inseminated with his sperm and would give birth to his babies. Borderline Nazi.
Oh, yeah.
Master race.
I don't even think borderline.
He got scientists to go out there that were kind of like, I don't know if I can really advise you on this. He was like, "Did you want $3 billion for your project?"
Yeah,
they're like, I can look the other way.
Yeah. And that's been his whole life. You pay somebody enough money, they'll look the other way.
Yikes.
Money is
corruption, man.
Man, people will do bend their morals and ethics so far and break like they say, everyone has a price. I like to think I don't. I like to think no matter how much money, if he had come to me and said, Christy, I've got a great idea.
You want to get pregnant?
Come to New Mexico with me. And he was like, I'll give you billions of dollars if you find me 10 girls that I can't imagine in any world I would have said yes to that.
The weird thing to me.
It's money. It's only money.
It's only money. And you know what? I think that comes from being people who understand that money isn't the be all end all. It's important. It's right up there with breathing and water and things that we need to survive. Right. But an overwhelming amount of water is going to drown you. Right. I mean, unlike
those other things, you can survive without money.
Correct.
It is harder.
Yes.
But maybe it's because if you are so used to this amount of money, you can't understand how other people wouldn't want the same thing.
Like, it's just so much that you think, well, I can buy anything.
Yeah. Your sense of reality is completely warped.
And I'm glad. Oh, girl. Sidebar. I watched and bawled my eyes out over Untouchable, the Harvey Weinstein documentary.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
But that is a case of a person who his currency was less money. He did have a lot of money, but he wasn't Epstein wealthy.
No.
His currency was this rare power in the industry, in the film industry, to say, I can make you and I can break you. And it's heart-wrenching to watch what these women went through. And the women that turned him down and that their careers suffered, or the women that he screamed at in the streets. But it's this currency. And I wonder if you have an overabundance of a type of currency, how that's what corrupts you, right? That you don't have to worry about the implications because you'll never run out, he thought.
Right.
Epstein thought.
Yes.
Weinstein thought. But yeah, Weinstein said, I'm the motherfucking sheriff of this shithole town and I can make or break you and do whatever I want. And so when you think with Epstein, he just had unlimited amounts of money. You just think, well, I can never run out. So I can do whatever I want. Because there'll always be more power or money.
You don't accept no.
Yeah. God.
In more than one way.
Seriously. And all these women suffer as a result.
Well, despite disgusting and illegal comments like Epstein made, he maintained his relationships with his rich and powerful friends like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, and Donald Trump. In a 2002 interview with New York Magazine, Trump was even quoted as saying,
"It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." I gotta work on my Trump.
Trump's a hard one.
Yeah.
Trump also said that Epstein loved his social life. I mean, it was well known amongst all of these people that he liked to party with very young girls. They knew that he was doing more than just partying with them. And it's hard for me to reconcile that if you're around all of that, you're not also participating.
Yeah. At what point does non-action become action?
Even if you're not assaulting them, the fact that you're not doing anything to prevent him still makes you accountable.
And the danger becomes when you're around that, it then becomes normalized.
Yes.
Much like the Alexander Pope poem that my teacher taught us that, would you like to hear?
Sure.
Vice is a monster of so frightful mien that to be hated is but to be seen. Yet, seen too oft, familiar with her face, we first endure, then pity, then embrace. So she used to tell us, you guys don't go, if kids are out, doing drugs or having sex or drinking beer, if you go, well, they're my friends, I'll just go and watch. And you kind of just go, well, I'll just suffer through it. And then you go, well, I feel bad for him. He's drunk. And then they go, hey, well, do you want to try some? That sort of.
It's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope of being around it and being so immersed in it that you kind of go, well, he's not getting caught and it's not so bad. And he's having a lot of fun. And at what point do you go from inaction to action?
Absolutely.
Becoming a perpetrator as well. I think of that though. Anytime in these cases of like, well, I didn't really, I don't want to stop him. I didn't know what to do. Sometimes even if you can't, it's hard. If you're in a rock and a hard place, this is your job. You can't speak up. This is the only way you can help your family. I mean, what do you do? It's hard.
Well, the billionaire had got off with a slap on the wrist for his crimes, but his victims refused to be silenced. By September of 2009, 12 women had filed civil lawsuits claiming that Epstein had molested them while they were underage. Around the same time, Alfredo Rodriguez, one of Epstein's butlers, went to the FBI with a trove of information on his former boss.
I think that the danger in civil lawsuits is that before I think our new climate's a little bit different, but it was not so long ago that a woman would sue a man for some sort of sexual misconduct and everyone would say, she's just looking for a payday. Yeah. The reason why, if everyone wants to know, you would file a civil lawsuit is, I don't know, your U.S. attorney failed the shit out of you with a plea deal. And also the burden of proof is much lower in a civil suit. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. And so you have a little bit better. He's not going to.
There's tons of criminal cases. OJ, for example, where they are found not guilty in criminal court and then found guilty in civil court. Yes. It is very, very common practice. Yes.
So I think back in the day, National Enquirer of like woman looking to cash in on a thing, a lie that
especially
she made
if it's claims of sexual abuse.
She's a gold digger or whatever. Yeah. And I think back then now it's a lot more. We believe women, we believe victims, we believe survivors. But back then, that's super brave for them to do that. Yes, especially after the Justice Department failed them so bad.
Well, according to Rodriguez, Epstein regularly had nude underage girls hanging out by his pool. Rodriguez knew his employer was having sex with these girls and even provided a black book filled with hundreds of names and numbers of the victims. While Rodriguez was later charged with obstruction of justice and sentenced to federal prison, he passed away in 2015 before having to serve his time.
Well,
so would he have been charged with that because he, at the time, didn't do anything?
Yeah, maybe before he had
we were just talking about, you're an accessory to all of this?
Yeah, and maybe if he had been questioned, or honestly, I didn't look into his charges as much, but if he had been questioned or if they had said, hey, do you have any evidence or anything?
And then said no at the
later
time.
On he comes back and goes, I've had this book for 10 years. Yeah. They're like, okay, well, you should have given that to us.
You would think that he... I don't know, would have struck some kind of deal that if I give you this, then...
could you please?
Yeah.
Well, and they may have said, we're going to charge you with conspiracy to commit sex trafficking unless you plead to federal obstruction.
Yeah,
and then
true.
He goes, okay, I'll take that one.
He may have just pled down. Well, over the next few years, the civil lawsuits continued to mount, with new evidence being introduced, including the black book provided by Rodriguez and flight logs of Epstein's private planes from the early 2000s. Allegations that Epstein and Maxwell had been operating an international sex trafficking operation, with Maxwell acting as his madam, also began to surface.
This must be because she's rich.
She's rich and she's denying everything.
Well, she's rich and she's powerful. So what's the motivation here? Was she into weird sex stuff too?
I mean,
power?
That's a good question. We've seen it with Raniere.
Mm-hmm.
I think she... kind of the same thing with what's her name from
Allison Mack.
Yes. She is still responsible and needs to be held accountable for her actions. Was she also a victim?
Well, and
was this Ghislaine Maxwell also a victim?
Or he just got a hold of her when she was young enough and she was into it.
I don't think she was
got brainwashed.
No, I think she was maybe into him.
Maybe, and I'll do anything to make you like me.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know if we have this in that one. He had to have 3 orgasms a day. It was a requirement.
Had to.
It was a requirement.
Had to.
He said it was like eating.
So breakfast, lunch, dinner.
I guess so.
Wow. That is a lot.
If you like this guy so much that he says, I have to have this many orgasms.
Or who knows?
From young underage.
And who knows what he has on you, maybe.
True.
She's fraternizing with Prince Andrew and all sorts of stuff. Maybe he's blackmailing her. Who knows? I mean, she's denying that she has any wrongdoing in any of this. So it'll be interesting to see what continues to come out and what happens with her. In early July of this year, Epstein had just landed at New Jersey's Teterboro Airport when he was met by agents with the FBI NYPD Crimes Against Children's Task Force. He was placed under arrest on charges of sex trafficking minors in New York and Florida between 2002 and 2005. That same night, federal agents conducted a search of the billionaire's Upper East Side townhouse in Manhattan, where they found a safe filled with thousands of nude photographs of underage girls.
Well, like we talked with Billy Jensen, there are a lot of villains in this, but there are also heroes.
Yes.
And this task force, the DOJ now, the FBI now, the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Florida and in Manhattan, in the Southern District of New York and in New Jersey, and the Bureau of Prisons even, after his arrest, have all been above board reporting things going after him, getting the most evidence that they could. I think they said the investigation started in like late 2018 and they wanted to get as much as they could get on him so it would stick. Yeah. There's not going to be a plea deal this time.
Well, there's definitely not going to be a plea deal.
Spoiler alert.
The 14-page indictment charges Epstein with sex trafficking and conspiracy to commit sex trafficking. The indictment alleges that Epstein, from 2002 to 2005, recruited and seduced underage girls to give him massages at his mansions in Manhattan and Palm Beach, Florida. During these massages, Epstein would grope the victims and typically masturbate himself or encourage the victim to masturbate him. He would then give victims hundreds of dollars in cash and offer them more cash to recruit other girls. In doing this, he created a vast network of underage girls in both locations for sexual exploitation.
This is a very carefully worded and well-written indictment that is clearly made to scoop up other people.
What do you mean by scoop up other people? People that were involved in this, not
other
just him?
Perps. Yes. Yeah, other perpetrators. Because it talks about what he does, but at every turn, it manages to mention which were procured by his employees, which were provided to him by people on his staff, which Jeffrey Epstein and others, known and unknown. I mean, it's just hammers that this was not...
he couldn't have done this by himself.
There's no way. But it just hammers in, this was not a man acting alone, and it's probably not the only person we're going to go after.
Yes. Well, good. While U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman has not publicly specified what made his office decide to pursue charges after all these years, he did attribute it to stellar investigative journalism. With the extensive Miami Herald article reported by Julie K. Brown coming out in November of 2018, shortly after Acosta was made Secretary of Labor, it is safe to assume the evidence presented in that article allowed for the U.S. Attorney Office in New York to start their investigation and for more victims to file their lawsuits.
This is just a case of the right people are now empowered. Whether journalists, U.S. attorneys, or attorneys and victims are now empowered to just say, you know what, let's go after them. Let's do it. Sinisterhood will be right back.
This episode of Sinisterhood is brought to you by Graza. It's that time of year, whether you're grilling on the deck or chilling at the beach. Graza is your one and only summertime, never blended, single origin olive oil.
Graza also offers 3 unique varieties for any cooking task, and you have to get all 3. Let me just tell you, as we both live our lives with all 3, and you can't do it without
on my counter right now, and Tommy just made Philly cheesesteak wraps, and I guarantee you he used probably all of them.
Whenever I went on a vacation with my family this weekend, it was like, pack your own food. I packed my frizzle, my sizzle, and my drizzle. And I was like, we got these. And so I'm talking about frizzle. That's a smoke point of 490 degree Fahrenheit. It's perfect for grilling, frying, or crisping. Sizzle at 410 degree Fahrenheit. It's your everyday hero for roasting, marinating, sauteing. I make my eggs in it. Like I fry eggs in it every day. And drizzle with a bold, punchy flavor. It goes great on bread or toast. Ice cream, potato salad. Literally, it makes every dish better.
I love it on just a regular salad because I'm not a huge dressing person. So just a drizzle of olive oil and some sea salt. Ooh, it brings out the flavor so nice in that. Yes.
That's all you need.
And talk about convenience. Graza comes in these super fun squeeze and spray bottles, so you don't have to worry about messy tins or drippy spouts. I used to have an olive oil canister. It was very pretty, but my God, I couldn't pick it up without feeling like I just had a massage. My hands were so greasy. And then I can't open a door for like I'm just like it's just around everywhere. Yeah. I love that I don't have to worry about that anymore. There's no drip or mess with these.
That's the magic of Graza.
You'll get 10% off your first order of any olive oil on their site. But we suggest grabbing the trio. That's all 3 squeezy bottles, sizzle, frizzle, and drizzle. So you're set for every style of cooking.
Head to graza.co and use Creepy to get 10% off the trio, which includes sizzle, frizzle, and drizzle, and get to cooking your next chef quality meal. Sinisterhood will be right back.
Berman has also made it very clear that the plea deal made in 2008 has no bearings on this case and has encouraged other women that may have been victims of Epstein to come forward. In an interview with the New York Times, he went on to say,
"They deserve their day in court, and we are proud to stand up for them by bringing this indictment."
This man's a hero.
Yes, absolutely. I said, this is the kind of person you want to be your U.S. attorney who goes, I don't give a fuck how rich you are, what you know, who you know, I don't care. You are harming children, and we will stop you.
Yes. Well, Epstein pleaded not guilty to all charges, believing that he had already settled this matter back in 2008. In an interview with the New York Times, his lawyer, Reed Weingarten, said,
"To use this indictment is essentially a do-over. This is old stuff. This is ancient stuff."
How flippant and arrogant. This is ancient stuff. These are 14-year-old girls that were raped by this man.
Yes.
This is ancient stuff.
I don't care if it happened 75 years ago.
I don't give a fuck if it happened in BC.
They need to go.
Justice was never served, and they need their day in court, and they need their voices heard.
Seriously. And I think statute of limitations on sex crimes, particularly sexual assault or assault against children, non-full, like, because a lot of states have increased the statute of limitations on rape, but other adjacent sexual assaults and offenses, there should be no statute of limitations on sexual assault, in my opinion. I agree.
Well, Epstein also maintained all the sexual encounters with his accusers were consensual and that they were of legal age. However, the victims have said he absolutely knew they were underage because they outright told him. And also, they straight up look like they're teenagers.
Yes. And I think in some of them, they said, I walked in the room and he said, tell me your name. And they said, Jane Doe. And he said, how old are you, Jane Doe? And they said, 14. And he said, oh, great. Let's do a massage. It's like, it was that was part of the excitement. He didn't say, oh, you're 18,
you're 18,
aren't you?
Right?
Wink. No, he was fully aware. And that, like Tommy said, if they looked older or they lied, he wouldn't have wanted them.
And then you have Courtney Wild saying he couldn't get him young enough.
And he told the finders, get me anybody younger.
Find. Yeah. Well, Epstein didn't work alone, as we've mentioned. As we know, Maxwell allegedly helped find victims, and the indictment alleges that Epstein
worked and conspired with others, including employees and associates, who facilitated his conduct by contacting victims and scheduling their sexual encounters with Epstein.
And that happened in both New York and Florida.
This is federal sex trafficking. If you put a girl on a plane in Florida and fly her to New York or vice versa, you have
Mexico
trafficked in underage victims.
Virgin Islands is still in the U.S.
jurisdiction.
And that was probably by design.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's got them all over the place.
This is textbook sex trafficking. Yeah. And with all the helpers, textbook conspiracy.
Yeah. The indictment specifically names that 2 assistants employed by Epstein would greet victims at the Palm Beach residence. The indictment only calls them Employee 2 and Employee 3, but the FBI likely knows the identity of these employees and is in the process of investigating them as part of the conspiracy charges. Employee 2 would contact victims by phone and schedule encounters. Again, how do you sleep at night?
Well, you're about to be sleeping on a cot with 3 hots because you're going to jail. He ain't allowed to protect you now. Whatever safe full of dirt he has on the government, it is not going to protect you.
On July 18th, a judge denied Epstein bail, stating that his massive wealth and access to private planes made him a huge flight risk. With his bail being denied, Epstein was required to stay in the Metropolitan Correctional Facility.
Good. Fuck this guy. You don't get
him hard.
You don't get house arrest. You don't get work release. You're going to
jail like everybody else that would, if they had done this, would have gone to jail.
If you imagine that judge, you imagine how good that felt. Was man. No bail. Bom, bom, bom.
That's the best gavel ring you're ever going to have.
Satisfying. And the guard that closes the door shut and clicks
Very satisfying.
Man, clicks the... I imagine there's a giant key. Probably now it's computers, but in my mind, I still
like to think there's a giant.
It's a big one giant key.
Yes. Well, paparazzi photos on July 23rd showed a lifeless Jeffrey Epstein being wheeled away from the Metropolitan Correctional Center. According to TMZ, he had been found
injured and semi-conscious in his cell.
He was placed on suicide watch in the special housing unit and evaluated by psychiatric professionals.
Shout out to TMZ. They did a lot of reporting on this. TMZ is the only news that my mom watches.
TMZ is usually factual, but they do not give a shit about morals or ethics.
No.
They will get all up in anybody's business at any time of the day to get that story. I like reading TMZ. I cannot stand their show.
The show is erratic.
And just all of them are monsters and have the worst personalities.
It's very flashy and shouting.
Yes, there's a lot of yelling. Yeah.
I do love the TMZ website though, because you can see some nasty shit on there. But yes, TMZ, the television show, is the only news.
It's the worst. But I do.
Well, she watches Fox, not Fox News, the local Fox affiliate with an insane news anchor named Tim Ryan, who just doesn't give a shit and yells all the time.
She should be on TMZ.
Love this guy. And then she watches TMZ. That's her only source for news.
I mean,
if it wasn't on TMZ, she goes, if it wasn't on TMZ, it didn't happen.
Well, Epstein was all over TMZ, so
the truth.
She's right in this case.
I literally was Googling Jeffrey Epstein suicide attempt TMZ. So I was like, I want the TMZ because they do
break it down into nice timelines.
And do timelines. There's
bullet
photos,
points,
bullet points. Yeah, it's great. And they have a lot of juicy inside sources.
They do. Yeah. That's because I'm telling you, they have no morals and ethics.
Don't give a shit.
They just want the story. Well, there is yet to be a conclusion as to what happened to Epstein in his cell on July 23rd. There has been speculation that it was a legitimate suicide attempt, simply a cry for help, self-inflicted injuries to try and get a jail transfer, or an attack by another inmate or guard. 6 days later, on July 29th, for reasons that are unclear, Epstein was taken off of suicide watch and sent back to the MCC. The MCC had been a far cry from the cushy Florida digs Epstein stayed in before. One prior inmate told the New York Post that it was
worse than Guantanamo Bay.
Because Guantanamo Bay is
more relaxed.
Can you imagine being...
It's a bad review.
Yeah, that is a bad Yelp review.
Very bad.
Not as relaxed as Guantanamo Bay.
2 stars. Not as relaxed as Guantanamo.
2. That's more than I would have given it.
There's food there, so they still
okay, that's
and they
true.
have that one giant key.
Although famous criminals such as Al Chapo and Bernie Madoff have briefly called the walls of MCC home, the place is allegedly infested with rats and suffers from constant staffing shortages, requiring exhausted guards to work overtime.
The one good thing about this is there's an investigation into the standards of, it sucks that anybody has to go to jail.
Does it?
If they didn't do it. If they did do it, it's great.
This guy deserved to go to jail.
Fully. It's amazing that he went to jail. It was the first time in his entire life where he 100 times deserved to go to jail, and he went there one time.
Yeah.
However, I think they should have humane conditions. There shouldn't be rats.
Sure.
There shouldn't be rats.
What if the rats are like the mice in Cinderella?
Then that's amazing, and you're lucky because they're bringing you cheese.
Yeah, and making
corn.
you clothes and stuff.
When they sing you a little song.
So we don't know what kind of rats these are.
I think it remains to be seen the type of rats.
Let's not rat blame.
That's right.
Until we know what kind of rats they are.
The status
I do agree.
of rats.
Prisons are, we talk all the time about prison reform, and they should be humane conditions.
Read Just Mercy, Miss Shirtliff, my 7th through 8th grade English teacher, who I love very much, and I meet with her monthly. She told me to read this book, and I said, well, now you've ruined my life because all I want to do is fight for prison reform and making sure that people that are wrongfully convicted aren't in jail or especially on death row, but be humane conditions and air conditioning. And there's stories of facilities in Chicago and New York and Texas where there's no air conditioning. Yeah. And yes, you maybe did.
And people die from heat exhaustion or freezing.
We're not, I don't want to live in a country where we torture human beings.
Right. I'm against the death penalty regardless of what you've done. So I am too, I agree with that.
After the Menendez brothers.
Yeah, what's interesting, when we started this podcast, you were pro-death penalty.
I was very pro-death penalty.
And in earlier episodes, you even talk about how some people deserve the death penalty. I thought it Menendez brothers? I thought it was something else that the Menendez brothers turned you.
It was Eric Menendez, and now he's like a counselor. And I have this idea of like, we all should strive to do good. Yeah. And if you kill somebody, then you've cut off any ability for them to do any good. Like, it's a waste for everyone. So Eric Menendez, they could have killed him when he was 19. They could have executed him when he was 19. Bryan Stevenson, in his book, Just Mercy, he puts forth the theory that murder is the only crime that we do an eye for an eye for. He said, if you rape somebody, we don't take you to jail and forcibly, or if we rob somebody, we don't go wipe your bank account out, you go to jail. And he said, murder is the only one we do like one for one, eye for an eye. And then also his book is just filled with like horrifying stories of people being put on death row for things they very clearly did not do.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it was systematic in the area of the South that he was in, that it was the death penalty was basically created to reinforce the prison industrial complex and slavery, and it was state-sanctioned lynching, period. It was meant to kill as many Black people as they could.
I'm going to read this, but it's probably going to be
I've cried.
The most upsetting thing I've ever read in
Paris
my life.
was like, please, I don't want to hear any more of that because I would be like, oh my God, this is about a teenager who got put in adult prison and this horrible thing happened to him.
I don't know. He's like, that would be rough for me to read.
Yeah, it's like, it's a real bummer. But but it's so important.
And I'm glad that it's out there.
It's so impactful. Just Mercy, Brian Stevenson. Everyone read it.
On August 10th, 2019, mere days after hundreds of pages from a civil suit filed by one of Epstein's victims had been released in court, allegedly naming several senators that had also been involved in the abuse, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell. His death has officially been ruled a suicide by hanging. At the time, guards were supposed to be checking on Epstein every 30 minutes. Despite initial reports, Epstein was not on suicide watch and thus was not in the special housing unit that provides continuous 24-hour-a-day watch. Prison officials have not yet commented as to why, despite his previous suicide attempt, Epstein had been taken off suicide watch.
The judges are very concerned.
Yeah. A judge in the case has asked the Bureau of Prisons to comment on this lack of oversight.
Yeah, they're just like, how did this person have a credible suicide? You took him to the hospital and you bring him back and go, he's probably fine.
Many speculate that overworked and under-rested guards are to blame for Epstein being able to successfully take his own life. Other theories suggest that guards may have been paid off to look the other way, either by Epstein himself or a high-profile associate that wanted him silenced. One of the more outlandish theories suggests the body found was not actually Epstein, but rather a body double, and that Epstein is alive and well, living out of the country.
Well, he does have unlimited resources.
He does.
Where did they get a body?
That's another good question. Interestingly, 3 days before his death, Epstein signed a new will. One witness to the will was the 26-year-old attorney who was a member of Epstein's trial team before his suicide, Marielle Colon Moreau. Part of that new estate plan included creating a $578 million trust. Some experts, including financial magazine Bloomberg, speculated that this could have been done in an effort to shield his assets from creditors.
So this goes into the conspiracy that if he's about to die, he has no kids, why would you care what happened to your money if you're going to kill yourself?
Because you don't want your victims coming after it, I would say.
But you think he really cares if he was going to kill himself? Or would he want to save as much money in a trust so he could live in another country?
I do think he's dead.
Okay.
So...
Or that's the other thing is he's thinking, okay, well, I'm going to shield this money. I'm definitely going to get out of these charges. I'm not going to go to jail forever. So I need to keep my money from all these lawsuits. And then he's murdered.
Could have been.
It doesn't seem necessarily. Yeah, you want to get your affairs in order as a person who maybe is contemplating suicide. But this type of, it's normally giving stuff away. Why wouldn't he say, okay, well, for $578 million, give it all to Harvard.
Yeah.
So that way the victims can't have it.
Or my parents or my brother or whatever.
Why would you put it in a trust? Also, very interesting, Marielle Colon Moreau also represented El Chapo. She's very young and
26.
Yeah, she's very young and there's a very interesting article and we'll put it in the show notes about how she got on the El Chapo team. And then from there, it sort of rocketed her career.
Interesting. Well, a copy of the will obtained by Bloomberg shows a file stamp from the U.S. Virgin Islands in the top corner, dated August 15, 2019. In it, Epstein declares himself as a resident of the U.S. Virgin Islands and names two men, Darren K. Indike and Richard D. Kahn, to serve as executors. Indike is Epstein's longtime lawyer who helped set up most of Epstein's shell companies. This is problematic, as Indike was Epstein's attorney, which means their interactions were and now continue after Epstein's death to be protected by attorney-client privilege. After a client dies, attorney-client privilege survives the death, and the estate retains the right to enforce it. That means that, as executor, Indike is able to maintain that privilege, while Richard Kahn is a businessman who served as an officer for Epstein's charity.
So and Indike has all the goods. He's able to not turn over those goods if it was told to him in the context of wanting legal advice or in attorney-client privilege.
So what are you saying?
So then the stuff that he knows, since he's the executor, he doesn't have to reveal it. If it
in
was
a court of law.
Correct. If it was just Richard Kahn, then none of the information that he would come across.
But because he was his attorney, correct, he doesn't have to reveal that.
Or Richard D. Kahn, if he was the sole executor, could go, oh, well, on the behalf of the estate, I waive the privilege. But since the attorney likely wants to protect himself.
Like you got to turn two keys.
Yes. And he's got both of the keys.
Yeah.
He ain't turn no keys.
Well, there are two problems with this plan. If it were a testamentary trust, meaning although there is paperwork, the assets don't move until death, then the trust won't inherit until the estate is administered. Part of that process includes paying out on claims by those who have a valid claim.
Like with the victims.
If it was an inter vivos trust, meaning it was created and funding during his life, the transfer of money would likely be seen by courts as a fraud on creditors, meaning Epstein knew victims were trying to collect, so creating this trust to avoid that was a fraud.
Yeah, that's why it makes me, I don't know, suspicious that he made this. Because kind of either way, I guess these are...
So what are you thinking?
That I think he did not want to die. This is a
So you don't think he committed suicide?
Correct. As a person who has done ultra high net worth estate plans, this is the type of planning that you do if you plan on leaving money to your children or for yourself to set yourself up for retirement.
Yeah, it's quite possible he did not take his own life.
That's what it's
someone took it for him.
Basing just only on the estate planning part.
That's a good point. On August 20th, 2019, 3 separate lawsuits were filed against the estate of Epstein, which will hopefully serve as some sort of compensation for these women who were repeatedly and systematically abused by Epstein, who served a minimal jail sentence and never faced true punishment for his crimes.
Yeah, and so if it's a testamentary trust, that all those lawsuits have to get settled first before any money goes into the trust. So hopefully at least somebody will see some semblance of justice.
I think a lot of the victims will see some money.
I don't see why this indictment fellow don't just go write everybody checks and go, yeah, listen, we know he did this.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
May happen. Epstein's death has led many of his victims to once again feel like they have been robbed of their day in court and that justice has not been served. Accuser Jennifer Arias said,
I am angry Jeffrey Epstein won't have to face his survivors of abuse in court. We have to live with the scars of his actions for the rest of our lives, and he will never face the consequences of the crime he committed or the pain and trauma he caused so many people.
Very well said.
It's concisely said, because he, even if he was murdered, kind of got the easy way out.
Yeah, for sure. He doesn't have to answer for anything anymore.
Mm-mm. He's hung out in jail for a month.
Yeah.
And a chunk of that was spent in the hospital.
The amount of time he spent in unpleasing circumstances and surroundings compared to the rest of his life, which was filled with money and lavish homes and cars and doing whatever he wanted and getting away with it, is minuscule.
It's a grain of sand on a beach.
Yeah.
I mean, he had no punishment.
Drop of water in the ocean.
Yes.
What he got versus what he did. While it is true that the criminal case is now over as Epstein was the only person named in the criminal indictment, that does not mean that his co-conspirators are off the hook. In a statement released after Epstein's death, the U.S. attorney working on the case mentioned that the investigation will continue and specifically mentioned a, quote, conspiracy count. This has implications beyond Epstein's death.
And it's Jeffrey, what's his name? The U.S. attorney for the New York. He very specifically said that in the statement. Jeffrey Berman. He made sure to say, the investigation's still going on.
Yeah.
Wink.
Hint, hint. In connection with his investigation, his co-conspirators, including Maxwell, could still be prosecuted. The indictment issued by the U.S. Attorney's Office alleges that, quote, Epstein, along with other persons, known and unknown, engaged in the conspiracy to commit sex trafficking. That leaves the door open for further charges to be brought against Maxwell and other participants. I certainly hoping they do. I'm
not 100% sure either, but I think by filing that indictment when they did, and it says persons known and unknown, I think it'll toll the statute if it takes them, which means if the statute of limitations is 5 years and the crimes, it'll stop. You basically get like a freezing time on the date that it was filed. I think that is in the abscesses of my mind somewhere.
In the abscesses of my mind. In addition, victims are still able to file civil suits against Epstein's estate, provided the state in which the abuse occurred does not have a statute of limitations. I believe Florida does.
Yeah.
7 years, I believe it is. So unfortunately for a lot of those victims, the statute of limitations is already up, which
There shouldn't be one.
Maybe something so high profile as this will elect change in that arena in that state.
That'd be amazing.
And other states.
And that's the Crime Victim Rights Act came out of victims of the family members of victims of a murder. And they had these issues with. So it's unfortunate when this really traumatic thing happens to you and you cannot get regular, the retribution you want in the courts or civil or criminal. But sometimes you can take that trauma and turn it into something that can help other people. Yeah. So hopefully the state of Florida will make some moves.
I hope so. Epstein's ability to use his power, wealth, and social and political connections in order to sexually abuse hundreds of women and underage girls for decades is a glaring example of why movements like Me Too are so massively important and critical. With more and more victims coming forward and the public demanding answers as to how this sexual predator got off so easily 12 years ago, the investigation is likely just beginning. In her interview with Rolling Stone, Jennifer Arrayas said it best.
Epstein is gone, but justice must still be served. I hope the authorities will pursue and prosecute his accomplices and enablers and ensure redress for his victims. Again, she hit the nail on the head.
Man. So this is still very active and ongoing. This is very fresh. We'll update as needed. There's, it's going to be interesting to see when a lot of these documents are unsealed, who is implicated in this stuff.
Definitely.
But what do we think? More importantly, what I'm asking you what you think is about his death.
I don't think that he killed himself, but I don't know who killed him. So my two theories are that he was killed by maybe like a pissed off guard or someone, but more likely I think someone was paid to end him.
I think that's the likely scenario.
I think he knows too much. I think the behavior before his death, I think the last suicide attempt, the July 23rd one, was either kind of a cry for help or someone went in there.
They said that it looked kind of like he'd been beaten. Yeah. He had like bruises around his neck. So it could have been from hanging, but it could have also been and there was a bone broken in the front of his neck that does indicate suicide. But if you were a trained professional assassin, wouldn't you know to break that bone? Perhaps. Yeah. I mean, I do think that he is dead. I don't think it was a body double or something like that. I would think it was suicide, except for this trust stuff is very interesting and it's hard for me to reconcile why he would have set all this up.
Why do you care about what happens to your money?
Unless he was just so greedy and refused to admit any wrongdoing that he thought, even in death, I'm not going to allow these women and girls to get a dime from me because I didn't do anything wrong.
True. I mean, that could be it too. He could come at it of he wanted ultimate control and to take advantage and doesn't think he did anything wrong.
And even in death, he has control over this.
Well, I already paid him. I paid him when they did the act. A greedy person's just greedy. But I think the way that it was set up sort of intricately and putting the two executors and one is the lawyer, and it's set up in a way that indicates to me that he thought maybe he was going to get out of jail.
And live in another country or some,
not be free, but, Roman Polanski it up, go to somewhere else and hang out and just don't come back to the U.S.
Well, and the fact that this happened days before all those documents were going to be unsealed.
Or the day of, right?
The day of. So in implicating a lot of high profile senators, who knows who else, who knows who else could possibly have been the ones that said, hey,
Operation Thunderbird is a go.
Shutting this down. Yeah. Shutting this down right now.
Send somebody in. I think it was a joke, but that was on Twitter that someone said that an unnamed source from within the jail said 30 minutes before Epstein was killed, a man came in. It was a new guard who I'd never seen before. He was wearing a full guard uniform, but I had never seen him at work. And I said, "What's your name?" And he said, "Steve." I said, "Oh, cool. Steve what?" And he said, "Jail."
Yeah, I saw that too. It has to be a joke.
Steve Jail. I think it was like Pixelated Vote or someone, but I just thought that was very amusing. Yeah. It was a Twitter joke.
But I mean, that's very tongue in cheek though, of how
overworked,
glaringly obvious this could have been.
Well, and also it's just overworked guards. They're understaffed, overworked, and they come in and say, "Who are you?" "I'm the new guy. You guys are working so much overtime. I'm here to relieve you." And the guy goes, "Oh my gosh, thank you." Or says, "Hey, I'm your new supervisor. You're about to go in the other room."
And possibly it was neither of those,
Correct.
but someone there to take care of business.
Exactly. It wasn't anybody that actually worked for BOP. And so that's kind of always a question too, is who knows how much? You know, if the CIA is here to do this, they're not going to go and tell the manager. They're called wardens, Heather. They're not called managers of jail.
No, don't think you want.
Some of them call me Mr. Manager. No one calls you that. But yeah, they're not going to go in and tell the warden. What they're going to do is get a phone call that says, hey, this is Bill and he's going to work here now.
Yeah.
And then Jeffrey Epstein is killed.
Welcome, Bill.
Yes.
Yes.
And they go, aye, the
well,
CIA.
and also, if what Acosta said back in 2008 is true, that he was told, this is above my pay grade, your pay grade, just do what you're told. I mean, that if that is true then it stands to reason that was true now.
Mm-hmm. He's above the pay grade. Who knows?
Interesting. Yeah.
This was a long one. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, it was. And it's, like we said, there's so much more we could have gone into.
We could have done a whole episode just on his financial crimes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The thing about him, and we could have probably done at least a half an episode on all the reports that came out of the high school that he worked at.
I mean, this, like we said, his abuse spans decades, and the fact that in a month from the time he was arrested to the time he's dead, it was just a month.
He was found dead.
Found dead, yeah. Well, let us know what you guys think. There's a lot of interesting conspiracy theories out there.
And thank you
all. A lot of Reddit rabbit holes.
Oh, there's so many. And Twitter rabbit holes.
Lots.
But thank you all for when we did the Canadian road trip homicides. We said, we're going to do a recent one. What do you think it is? And there were so many. Epstein. It's got to be Epstein. It's got to be Epstein. So thank you for suggesting it. And we hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, here's what has happened since that episode first aired. And I said a minute ago, 6 years. And then I realized 6 years.
Right.
It does not seem that long.
It doesn't, but also on the flip side, I was like, there was a time that Ghislaine Maxwell was just loose. Like she was just at her house in New Hampshire. Well, knock, knock, knock. July 2020, Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested on federal sex trafficking charges and was convicted just a year later in December 2021 on 5 counts, including sex trafficking minors in federal court.
Well deserved. Oh, man. What a horrible, horrible woman she is. We've talked before how, like with Nexium and other cults, because this in a way is a cult of Epstein, like the people that were so under his thumb, and he had juicy details, legal videos, whatnot to blackmail people. But at some point, she went from potential victim to complicit sex trafficker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think perhaps she was never even a victim, more like, what can I get out of him and what can he get out of her? I didn't realize until our coverage, and then a lot of things came out about Ghislaine, you know, with her conviction, and she was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. It's projected she'll be released in 2037, that she brought sort of this panache, this British posh, because of her father, as we discussed in the episode, and that Jeffrey was more of a kind of dorky, like maybe not as, he couldn't socially kind of, he needed her as a social lubricant, basically.
Yeah.
And so to hear that about her and her father's connection, like we talked about, to intelligence, Israeli intelligence, and the more information that's coming out about people on these lists are also in the intelligence community, including Alex Acosta, who we talked about in the episode, became the Secretary of Labor, saying things like, I was told when I was prosecuting Epstein that he belonged to intelligence, that I really shouldn't have had anything to do. So for me, it's shocking that Ghislaine Maxwell even was arrested at all, much less convicted, much less that she's in a jail somewhere, given my hypothesis is that there is some sort of intelligence connection going on.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if it's almost just for show in a way. And like, you know, I mean,
take one for the team.
The government and current administration will yeet anybody under a bus going 100 miles an hour if it serves them. I really feel like life has no sense of preciousness to any of them except their own, and to preserve their own stuff. But if she had to be the pawn to be sacrificed for this whole thing, yeah, I think they'd throw her in there, especially because she's a woman.
Yeah, and it was pretty easy to pinpoint that she was there because she's in every picture with him, flight logs, the book and whatnot. So as Ghislaine Maxwell was being convicted, Virginia Giuffre was suing Prince Andrew, and that lawsuit settled in February 2022, just before depositions began.
Yeah. What has happened to him, really, except he's been excommunicated from the royal family, essentially?
Yeah. They're like, you don't have any more royal duties. They had to sell a chalet, I believe, like a Swiss chalet to pay.
Oh, not the chalet.
My
one
chalet.
of many.
I had to sell my chalet to pay for my sex crimes victims, alleged sex crimes victims, because he did not admit guilt in this. He claimed in his interview, I've never even seen her before. And you're like, bitch, you're in a photograph with her. He was like, it could have been digitally altered.
No, it couldn't. I mean, obviously Trump is like, this guy, why are we still talking about him? You mean your bestie that you sent birthday drawings to, that you're in a million pictures with, that you've quoted as saying he's a great guy. He likes them young, he likes women even more than me, young women. And then you're like, I barely knew the guy. The gaslighting is fucking out of control these days.
Yes, it's very 1984-ish. It's wild to watch any of this, but much less when there's like photographic evidence. But that Prince Andrew interview that he did of just kind of a shame tour. And did anybody watch that and go like, you know what? He was a good guy that got caught up in some stuff. I think we all watched the Prince Andrew interview and we're like, that guy's a fucking pervert.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I'm sorry, that's how I feel about watching it. But like, at no point was I like, oh yeah, this is working for me. It's like watching Jeff and Shalea. And you're just like, no, I think you're lying.
Yeah. It's the secondhand embarrassment I get from Jeff and Shalea's, anybody, Trump every day, where I'm like, you think you're so smart and it's so transparent that it's embarrassing for me. I'm like embarrassed for you that you think you're selling it.
Truly. And I wonder if it is a product of our times where you and I and people that are not of Prince Andrew's generation, but we have begun to live in the last 25-ish years, more of an authentic life. You have to kind of be who you say you are. And if not, you get kind of found out. And there's this like, it's in Hollywood with like, we see Brad Pitt being pushed for this like F1 movie. And I'm like, who fucking likes Brad Pitt still? Sorry if that's a hot take. He like bashed Angelina Jolie in the head with a wine bottle. That's crazy business.
I think he also allegedly there was some child abuse and his kids don't talk to him anymore, which is always a big red flag for me.
So I'm like, we're all just watching this guy like schmoozing doing interviews. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be like, this is normal and good. I'm like, no, this is weird. So it's like with any of these things, we're like, I will stand in front of a microphone and say things and people will believe it. And you're like, it is not 1995 anymore. Like that does not work.
No, but it still hasn't changed the tenacity for it.
No, they still go for it. Well, as we move through our timeline from this, the Department of Justice in June of 2023 released a report accusing jail officials of negligence in Epstein's death, but they still reaffirmed the suicide ruling. And that was kind of the only things we were hearing about this until early January 2024, when several batches of documents were released, including the Little Black Book.
Yeah. When Epstein first died, I mean, everyone, it was like a meme of like Epstein didn't kill himself. It was all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I, for some reason in my naivety, thought, yeah, he probably didn't kill himself. Somebody probably killed him and took care of him. Now I'm like, or somebody opened a door and let him on out to get into a car to drive off.
Potentially. There was footage released. A person flew a drone over Epstein's Island after his alleged death. And there is footage of a man. You tell me what you think, if it's just a gray-headed tan guy. Others have said that to me looks just like Jeffrey Epstein. And he's doing renovations on the island. So whether that was a guy renovating the island that just so happened goes, God, I look like the pedophile, the dead pedophile that used to own this place. I look just like him and I'm doing this job. What a small world. Maybe.
You got
don't
to
know.
dye your hair if that's the case.
Yeah.
You got to dye your
Wear a
hair
wig.
and wear a shirt that says, I am not Jeffrey Epstein, just in case somebody flies over and sees you.
No, he did not. He was just out and he like looking up at the, you're like, don't look, you're looking
I'm
at
not
this
usually
drum.
one for conspiracies, but with the ties to possibly being some kind of like Mossad or something and the Maxwell connections, at this point, because of just gestures wildly at the world around us, nothing would surprise me anymore, and I wouldn't put anything past anybody.
No, truly. And I don't think that it would just have been the Trump administration sneaking him out of jail or whatever. I think it would be the CIA. I think it is the intelligence regime that stays in power regardless of who the president is. And kind of like, I think we see with JFK, if you go against that, they're like,
Bye-bye.
You want to go to Dallas? And it's like, seriously, it's like there is a larger machination beyond our commander in chief, which is disturbing to me as an American, but who's kind of an idiot who believes in like freedom and the Constitution. Dummy, it's all made up.
Stupid American.
Fool. But truly, I would agree with you that it could serve a broader intelligence purpose to keep these things hidden and have him alive to be able to say this person is connected with this person, kind of that wealth of information that even if you have files, you couldn't write it all down to go, oh yeah, that guy did meet with that guy or whatever. You're more useful as a talking head. So
yeah, that's the thing. What's he more useful as? Because obviously before he died, he had a wealth of information on everybody, the wealthiest of the elite. So those people aren't going to want their names leaked, but also like the potential CIA who's getting information might not want that connection to go away either. So who wins out in the end, the elite or the CIA?
Truly. And it's like you're now going to burn my contacts that I had by blowing this whole thing up. Well, when the Little Black Book was released in early January 2024, and a version of it had been online, and it's again where you get these releases of redacted documents and then unredacted ones are released. In that one, it had multiple phone numbers for well-connected men, including 20 phone numbers for Bill Clinton,
20 phone numbers. Who needs that many?
Oh, hey, got a lot of deals, baby. He's got a lot of different phone numbers. 14 phone numbers for Donald Trump, 11 for Alan Dershowitz, the famous lawyer, 7 phone numbers for Ehud Mubarak, the former prime minister of Israel, 10 phone numbers for Peter Mandelson, who is currently the British ambassador to the United States, and on and on and on. Other names, Prince Andrew, Michael Jackson, magician David Copperfield. I bet that's when he wishes he could disappear.
Oh, yeah.
And Stephen Hawking. Not good.
Dude.
Yeah. So names have started to come out. And I think that's kind of how the Epstein list, the quote unquote list, became this talking point in January of 2024 of like, well, we've seen the Black Book, which some people argue that was Ghislaine's because the phone numbers for UK phone numbers had no prefix, but for US phone numbers did have the prefix. So it's like, well, a British person must have written that. Whatever. I don't know.
But if she's like his right-hand woman, what does it matter who has it? What's
the difference? And I believe Virginia Giuffre called her Mary fucking Poppins. Like she had everything. She was the keeper of the stuff. I don't think she said it like she's like Mary fucking Poppins. I think it was more like, I hope that bitch dies, Mary fucking Poppins. And also flight logs from the Lolita Express confirmed multiple trips involving the Clintons in early 2000s, 27 flights with Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Clinton. Come on, man. What? Hey,
and what? Y'all are just golfing? You just swimming?
There were balls and sticks, baby.
Oh,
I don't mean to joke about it. Truly, though, I do think this has to be investigated to like the upper echelons. And why, if you have just smoking gun evidence that Bill and Hillary, at the very least, Bill is involved in this. Unless you're also on the list. Unless you're also on the list.
The thing is, why doesn't he go after Elon for claiming this? Why doesn't he want to sue? Because then discovery comes about and all of his dirty laundry gets aired. And
Absolutely.
If you've got a list of Democrats on this that he could just destroy their careers, why wouldn't you? Oh, because you were partying with them too.
Yeah, it's like we all know what parties we were all at, and perhaps we were all there. But Trump was not unscathed. There was at least one confirmed trip with his family, in addition to a recording that was unsealed from Epstein claiming that Trump was once his, quote, closest friend, as well as the Katie Johnson deposition, which is, I think, so disgusting. I can't even get into it here, just as far as the descriptions of what allegedly the president did to this 13-year-old. So I would, if you are able to stomach that, I would urge you to read it and be fully aware of what those allegations are. And there's a strange brag from Epstein that Trump's first sexual encounter with Melania might have occurred aboard the Lolita Express.
Oh,
which
gross.
Yikes on all fronts. Yikes for talking about it. Yikes for doing it. Yikes for being willing to do it.
So this would have been like before they were ever married.
Yeah, way back. Way back.
Yeah, because
there's old
did
pictures
he
of them.
introduce the two of them?
That I do not know, but there are some pictures of like Epstein and Ghislaine with Trump, young Melania. Like that was many years ago. They were very young. So they were very close for a stretch of time and then had this big falling out about a real estate deal, if I'm not mistaken.
Real estate deal.
That's what did it in. But not before. In September of 2024, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals upheld Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction and her sentence. So she's been fighting her conviction this whole time to no avail, unfortunately.
Yeah. Originally, she also wanted to get moved into, a special section of the prison because she was worried the same thing was going to happen to her. And it's like, do you know what really happened? Do you not? I don't know. Again, like, why hasn't she been busted out? I think at that point, like, if she either winds up dead or, that's one is strange. Two, it, they're like, becomes a pattern.
Hey, yeah. Two is like, what is happening in our prisons that they're like, I don't know, stuff happens in here.
I don't know.
Well, she remains behind bars. Meanwhile, as September of 2024 and October of 2024, Epstein's name was being brought up a lot, but it was not by Kamala Harris's campaign. It was, in fact, by the Trump campaign and its surrogates, including Trump himself was asked in September about declassifying 9/11, declassifying JFK, and declassifying Epstein. For the first two, he's like, yeah. And for Epstein, he said, what?
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
He's like, I think less so that, talking about the Epsteins, because you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if there's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. A lot of phony stuff, he says, with that whole world.
And what do you mean by that whole world? The world that most of us aren't a part of and don't know about, but you are a resident of.
Yeah, I'm like, the world you mean pedophiles and sex predators? Yes. Do you mean intelligence agents? Like, what are you admitting to that whole world? But while Trump is like, I don't know about all that Epstein stuff, JD Vance is on Theo Vaughn's podcast and is like, seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing. Hey, can I take this couch home with me after the interview?
Oh man, Tucker Carlson too.
Yes, Elon too.
That's the thing I love about these fucking Republicans is they will just turn on each other at the drop of a hat because no one is loyal to anything but their own dollar and well-being. So is Tucker Carlson saying stuff that makes sense, that makes all of us feel like, why am I agreeing with Tucker Carlson? Yes. Does he believe it? I don't know. Maybe. I think he says whatever's going to further his career and get him, viewed the most. But I also think he's got a lot of insight into that world that most of us don't.
That's been a huge break from this because in October 2024, Tucker Carlson interviewed Elon. And in the Elon interview, Elon's like, oh, Kamala is getting so much support because if Trump wins, that Epstein client list will become public. And those billionaires behind Kamala are afraid of that outcome. And Tucker's like, yeah, you're right. So Tucker was like very on the side of like promoting the release of the list as a campaign promise and was like so into it. Megyn Kelly was into it. Theo Vaughn, who, God damn it, Theo Vaughn. What the fuck, dude?
I don't know.
What happened? Come on.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
I mean, a lot of funny bits with him. And then for this part, you're like, what are you doing? Yeah. Nonetheless, that was back in not so long ago in October. Then wins the election, February 2025, Fox News, our new Attorney General, Pam Bondi, she was asked, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she stared down the barrel of the camera with 100% certainty and said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review. And that was in February.
Yeah.
So
if
her
that
desk
was
is
sitting
messy.
on my desk to review, I'd drop
Look at it
everything.
first.
Yeah. What else is a bigger priority than this for you?
They kidnapping people off the streets. I'm told it,
Yeah,
truly they said
true.
that the quote unquote migrant, invasion or whatever, but the Gestapo situation going on, that's what the focus has been pushed towards. But she said in February, it's sitting on my desk. I think the shit starts to get a little bit real because Ghislaine Maxwell files a petition to overturn her conviction with the Supreme Court. Will the Supreme Court let her out?
That's a good question. I would have years ago, I would have said no. Now, I don't know that anybody has any sort of due process anymore or any kind of things don't go by the book these days. It's kind of just like, who are you and how much money do you have?
Yeah, truly. I mean, we did see with the Supreme Court, stare decisis, which is centuries old, literally since the country started, founding principle of our jurisprudence was in 2022 kind of tossed a little bit. So you're right. There's not really a lot as far as we can follow this precedent. Her appeal hinges solely on the language of the non-prosecution agreement that we discussed in our episode, the 2007 agreement he made with then U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta in the Southern District of Florida. And that said, we, the Southern District of Florida, will not prosecute any, quote, potential co-conspirators. We, the Southern District of Florida, won't do that. Later, New York went after Ghislaine Maxwell. Her argument is hey, the DOJ made this deal way before I got arrested, 13 years before I got arrested, saying we're all safe. Why am I now getting arrested? Well, the Department of Justice is arguing that deal was just for the Florida issues happening in Florida. You have been convicted on New York things, and Florida can't make deals for New York.
That is true.
So perhaps she will stay behind bars. I think legally, there's no circuit split. It's pretty much just contract language. They're arguing about the language said any potential co-conspirators, but it didn't say anywhere ever. And we have the authority to say anywhere ever because they don't. So
yeah,
I think she'll stay in.
Well, they all want it to be left up to the states to decide. So this is just one of those instances, isn't it?
Yeah, how pleasing. Well, sadly, that same month, this April, Virginia Jeffrey died supposedly by suicide at age 41 in Western Australia. We covered this in True Crime Headlines. If you're on our Patreon, in which her father has said she did not die by suicide, but the official ruling has been that she did.
Yeah. A few days before that, she was in the hospital where it was discovered. And then she admitted that she had been in a very abusive marriage and had suffered such extensive physical abuse that internal discoveries were found when she was in the hospital. And then, less than a week later, that came out. With all of these whistleblowers and victims that come forward, when they all of a sudden just turn up dead, it's very suspicious.
Absolutely. Especially the strange Instagram posts she made before that. A lot of the text that she had previously written, her writing style in prior posts didn't really sound like her. Some people said in this post before she passed away, she was leaning to the sides. Folks online have speculated that she was already dead by the time the photo was taken, and she was sort of posed in this way. The caption read that she had been struck by a bus. And then there was some official language from the law enforcement in the area going, this doesn't really comport with what we understand. There was a minor incident, but she wasn't mowed down. So it was some strange Instagram post with the photo, not really comporting with reality. And then that comment from her father afterwards, it was certainly a very sad end to a person who had suffered abuse at a young age, then was plucked from Mar-a-Lago by Ghislaine. Often said she would not have ended up in this whole situation, but for Ghislaine's bringing her there. She was horrifically abused by Epstein and a lot of people, not just her allegations against Prince Andrew, a lot of famous people. So you just hurt for a person who didn't get a break their whole life.
And then she marries a guy who beats the shit out of her too. And I mean, her from, being a tween, like 12, 11, she just lived a life of abuse. And it's so sad that it ended the way it did.
Yeah, bless her children and her. I hope wherever she is at peace, because she never saw a moment of it hardly here on Earth.
No, truly not.
Well, the next time we hear about Epstein here on this timeline is June of this year, when Elon Musk and Donald Trump were going through the great big breakup, the big beautiful breakup. I don't know if everybody remembers this, but it's when Elon was tweeting a lot of savage things, including "Time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's why they have not been made public." The laugh was me, but
yeah. It's, I think there's something to be said when someone goes public with something like this on a public platform. The way my jaw just stayed still, though. Like,
exactly.
Like, we already knew that.
Oh my gosh, it's like a kid raising their hand and being like, today was Tuesday. And you're like, today is Tuesday,
Today
Elon.
is Tuesday. Good job.
Good job. Yeah, he is in those files, buddy. We know. He later deleted. Yeah, Elon later deleted this post, but I mean, I feel like he would know.
Yeah. Oh, I think he probably is also on that list.
Well, I was going to say, if not him, then some sort of interest of his. Like, I think he's somehow involved because he's holding it as like his, no pun intended, trump card, because with Doge, they got digital access to everything. They just like have the keys. So they've probably seen it.
I think they know everyone that's on the list, and not just know who's on the list, but personally know those people that are on the list.
Like, 5 of them were at my birthday.
If he is also not on it. Like, they're all just disgusting rich perverts, billionaires that just have no morals or ethics. Mm-hmm. So, you can delete it. The damage has been done. Like, what's the point really of that?
Yeah.
And then he later also came out and said, who was the other one he dropped the bomb on? Stephen Miller?
Oh, did he? Oh, Steve Bannon.
Steve Bannon, yes.
I think it was.
Yeah, so now, which it's like, we probably all assume that too.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. But I would also put just a side note on Steve Bannon. The way that Bannon and Trump were introduced to one another was through this woman named Daphne Barak. And if you're on TikTok, go and check out this video series. And even if you're not, there's a creator. Her name is @BekahDay, BekahDayy, who does really niche. Yes. And I've seen, we both repost her stuff, but she does like these really deep dives with like public records and photos and archival footage. So I love it because she is a primary source researcher. Like everything she's got, she puts it on a green screen behind her. And she went into this whole rabbit hole that Daphne Barak is the cousin to Ehud Barak, the former Israeli prime minister, also whose name was in the Black Book. And that Daphne has been planting stories in the media because she has journalistic connections, was a journalist, and also has kind of shown up as a linchpin in all of these circles of like, how are they all meeting each other? And oftentimes it's her. So there's a lot of players, I think, that we don't even know their names or think about their names, that are like, when we go like, there's these fucked up rich people parties, and who's planning them?
Yeah. And who's at them? I mean, I think there's thousands of billionaires that none of us would even know their names, like just oil tycoons and who but I think when you're that rich, and I will never know this for sure, thank goodness, I would never want to be in these circles, but I think it is a small circle when you get down to the nitty gritty, and when you find people who are like-minded in your perverseness, you become besties because, but also you've all got shit on each other. So you know that like, I can't rat them out because they'll rat me out.
No, absolutely. And when you see stuff like, then John Kerry starts popping up in all these backgrounds of pictures and is on this board with this person or at this dinner with this person. And so it starts to become, it's not a, oh my gosh, all Republicans are on this list or all Democrats are on this list. It is a certain subset of just the political and Hollywood. Like you said, it is a more of a wealth power thing versus a left and right thing.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, I love Barack Obama. I'll say it. I'm a Chicago girl. Did he do a bunch of other bad shit? Certainly. But on the whole, I'm a fan. If you were like, and here's footage of him from this, or here's him on this, okay, fuck that guy then. Like, I'm not in a cult. So
No.
I don't fuck with him no more. And also I don't have like t-shirts of him and hats. I was like, I got to burn my Obama hats. Like, no, I'm not in a cult, so I don't have that issue. But it's like, you're right. I think there's names on the list that it's not even going to do anything. Like, I'm not, we don't know them to be upset about it, but we still would like to know who they are.
Yeah. And, many who said at this point, even if videos did surface of Trump doing something, his supporters are going to say it's fake. It's AI. He's going to say that too, and like the sad reality is we are at a point with AI where it could be fake. Is it? No, absolutely. There's videos somewhere of him doing stuff to 13-year-old girls. It could be though. And just like that slight little hope, they somehow can be presented with all of this evidence that he is a horrible, disgusting monster on all fronts. And they're still like, yeah, but these immigrants, boy, howdy, we got to get them out of here, right? And it's like, why don't we check his rap sheet against all these people at Alligator Alcatraz and see who has more felonies? Who's been accused more of sex crimes?
I might be quoting the number wrong, but it's something like over 90% of people at Alligator Alcatraz have committed no offense. So
and there you have it. Yet the person running the United States of America has committed more than anyone that is in that office should. And that's one.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You
commit
one sex crime, you don't get to run for office. That's my rule.
You're fired forever. Of all jobs. To quote him himself, you're fired.
Yeah.
Well, we have some hope because Ghislaine Maxwell, despite whatever may happen with her Supreme Court petition, she is reportedly offered to testify before Congress because under Federal Rule 35, if you've been convicted of a felony, you can negotiate a reduction in your sentences for cooperation. So if you're willing to spill, perhaps you could get a reduction in sentences. So I wonder if we see a decline from the Supreme Court saying like, we're not going to hear this. The conviction stands. And then this becomes her only route out. And perhaps there's some testimony. And then that's probably when she's going to quote unquote die in herself. But
yeah, that's the thing. I imagine if you're in this elite inner circle, you know how it all works. So you also know if I spill the beans, it's lights out for me. So what do? Testify and then get into the witness protection program, immediately flee the country and go live somewhere else?
And also the witness protection program, who's protecting you? The federal government, who is also infiltrated by people who don't want any of this information out. So you're right. If you spill the beans, they spill your beans is I think the concern.
I would think so. Yeah.
Well, we'll see if she testifies. But this brings us to July 2025 and everything's been popping off this month. This has been, first of all, there's no Epstein list. On July 7th, the Department of Justice announced there is no Epstein list.
Somehow this list,
the one that was on her desk,
the one that was on the desk, that their whole platform was like, get him elected, we'll release it, everyone's going to know. And now it just doesn't even exist.
It's wild to me to have the current director of the FBI having said at his confirmation hearing, yes, I will work with you. Yes, there's these lists. Pam Bondi, before this, it's on my desk. I do. They said 2 weeks or a week after she initially said it's on my desk, Fox News asked her again. So you said that you have the Epstein files on your desk. And she said, I do. And now she said, nope, we do not.
Never existed. So what was that? What was that on your desk that you misread?
No, she said there was a truckload of evidence. At one point, they gave binders to these more friendly influencers, but everybody that's seen the binder info has been like, it's been on journalist computers for like 6 years. Like it was kind of the same shit. But in tandem with that, they said no more files would be released, except we're going to release this video. So the agencies released 11 hours of footage from the area around Epstein's cell on the night of his death. They called it the, quote, full raw video. there is a 1 minute gap from 11:58 p.m. to 12:00 a.m. Pam Bondi says that it's an outdated system that resets around midnight. And she said there may be other footage to confirm that this midnight reset is routine. Now, Wired, the techno journalism magazine, found metadata, which is data inside of video files that you can view in a computer. You're not watching them as their videos. You basically have to right click it and look at the metadata. And when you get down in that, it showed that this was not a direct export from the DOJ's prison surveillance system, that in fact it was edited using Adobe Premiere Pro. Shout out. That's what Paris uses to edit the show.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they said it's multiple saves and exports. It was assembled from at least 2 source clips. In my opinion, side note, that would be how you would cut a minute out if you were going to sneak someone from a prison. You would have one clip, cut the part out, and the second clip, and then you would stick them together in Premiere.
Yeah.
They said it was saved the footage was saved at least 4 times over a 23-minute span by a Windows user account. Wired said, now granted, metadata alone doesn't prove deceptive intent. Potentially the DOJ was just processing this footage for public release clarity, but they've released 11 hours of footage. Yeah. It can be proven, 100% proven, that it's 2 files stitched together at the Adobe Premiere. It is not raw, and a minute is missing.
It's crazy. And yet somehow people are still like, yeah, but I mean, they all have an explanation, so it's fine. You're telling me that where Epstein is being housed, and just the amount of money that the government has, that they have an outdated system that just resets around midnight every night?
In the most high profile of cases, and also a fucking wretched angle. Like, you cannot even see his door. You cannot see the door to his cell.
That is one of the weirdest parts, is I'm like, you can't even, like, we're just watching the staff break room, and the door of another prisoner who you never see come in and out, or anybody go in and out. His room or his cell is next to the desk where you also can barely see it. It's so grainy. I'm like, we can take fucking pictures of the moon that have better clarity
with a phone
than this camera that's like 20 feet from this cell.
It's wild. And there's been a lot of analysts, people online breaking down like the behavior of what the Department of Justice has called the Bureau of Prisons employees negligent for not checking. They didn't do their rounds. They've admitted they didn't do their rounds. But we could probably do a whole breakdown on the minute by minute, where the 2019 report that came out of the DOJ describing what happens, ways in which that report does not comport with the footage that they released. And I'm not even talking about the 1 minute that they cut out. It's just, they said something happened at this time and it doesn't. You can see it on the footage. It doesn't. Not to mention the employee turning and specifically looking at the camera once or twice around this late hour
when they walk out, like clocking it. Like, for some reason, you're either looking at the eye in the sky for like a nod, a knowing nod, or you all of a sudden think, oh, fuck, I forgot there's a camera right there, which if that's the case, you're an idiot because you work there. There's zero sense of urgency.
It's weird.
Even when, like, they allegedly discover him, there's not a lot of urgency even then.
It's wild. And now, a person who stayed in that exact cell has come out and said, like, the way it happened, they say it happened, it could not have happened that way. There's a lot more holes in the story. Again, it's like you release this footage going, and that's the end of it. And we're like, we can tell you edited it. And it's like, damn it.
Yeah.
We're smarter than you. Like, that's the problem, is the people in charge are not as smart as the people who are not in charge, and they're outnumbered. And we can all talk to each other in ways that I think that you potentially could not have done in the 70s, say, if you're trying to cover something up.
It's a bunch of boomers trying to pull one over on like young tech savvy people. And you just can't.
No.
You just can't these days. Too much is available. For good and for bad.
Exactly. We all know too much. Just as we're wrapping up through July, Dan Bongino, who's the FBI deputy director, formerly a podcaster and outspoken advocate to release the files, he got in a huge screaming match with Pam Bondi, allegedly, and has not come back to work. So this has sort of split the MAGA base. Meanwhile, the Turning Points USA event was going on. So you have Tucker Carlson, Steve Banner, Megyn Kelly. These people are able to talk to the crowd, and the crowd seems overwhelmingly, and this is a very right-wing Republican space.
The rightest of the right, some would say.
The rightest of the right. Overwhelmingly in favor of releasing the Epstein files. Like, we're all on. I watched this guy on the stage of Turning Point, like, going off, and I was like, I agree with this guy, like, 100% on this subject for these 2 minutes. But I was like, never say you don't have something in common with people, because me and that guy probably have wildly different immigration policies, but we're both wanting the same thing.
And it's curious why. I mean, I would like to think that it's an obvious answer, because minors were sex trafficked and horrible crimes have occurred, and we want to know who's responsible for those. Mm-hmm. I don't know that that's necessarily why everyone wants them released, but whatever your reasoning may be, it does seem like everyone is in overwhelming favor of it happening.
One person who is not, the president, on July 9th said, are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. Are people still talking about this guy, this creep? And you're like,
this creep that was your bestie, that you drew a picture
let's
of
get to
a
the
naked
picture.
Lady with your signature as her pubic hair?
Yes, that is on July 17th, the Wall Street Journal reported that Trump was among several people who sent birthday wishes to Jeffrey Epstein back in 2003. The letter bears Trump's name. This is the contents we're going to give you. Tell me if you understand what this means. So it's several lines of typewritten text with a Sharpie marker drawn outline of a woman around it. There's two, small arcs for the titties.
Yeah.
And then his signature is her pubic hair.
Yeah.
So it says Donald. Allegedly, this is what the Wall Street Journal is reporting. Inside of the naked lady, the following is printed. Voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything. Donald. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey. Nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey. As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Trump. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret.
Who in their right mind would write such a cryptic, weird message that he wrote this? He wrote it as voiceover, like he's some kind of screenwriter. He wrote Donald, like he gave them each lines.
I don't know what this is.
So crazy.
To be fair, the Wall Street Journal said, we don't know who typed this, but this was typed, given to Donald Trump. Supposedly, he drew a naked lady around it with a Sharpie, signed his name for the pubes, and was like, give this to Jeffrey, my pal, my enigma friend. Trump was asked for comment and said, this is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story. I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women. It's not my language. It's not my words.
I can't read. I can't write. Everybody knows this.
It's true. I was like, enigma. He knows that word.
No, yeah. Somebody definitely had to write that. I don't think he knows that word. But, there was another dictator fascist that loved art too. He was a budding artist. So yet another thing they have in common. And I would also just like to say, you don't write a picture, dipshit, you draw one. So that sounds stupid too.
I never wrote a picture, but that came out. He's now suing the Wall Street Journal for $10 billion with a B. The Wall Street Journal said they have full confidence in the rigor and accuracy of their reporting, and they'll vigorously defend. My conspiracy theory is JD Vance and Peter Thiel want Trump out. They don't care if he dies. They don't care if he gets impeached or if he gets sex trafficker framed. I don't even think it's framed, but revealed and gets booted. They don't fucking care. Because a month before this story gets published in the Wall Street Journal, which Rupert Murdoch owns, they met with Rupert Murdoch in Montana. Peter Thiel and JD Vance and Rupert Murdoch met together. And then a month later, they're like, we have smoking gun evidence of this. They were at least besties enough to write this letter. And who benefits? Cui bono. My husband always goes, cui bono, cui bono. Like, who benefits if Donald Trump?
Rupert Murdoch sure would.
He makes a bunch of money for being, he's already a billionaire though, but now he's got the new president, JD Vance, who's much younger, much saner. You tell me, somebody that follows Curtis Yarvin. But that you're friends with because you helped publish this thing, and knowing that the lawsuit won't merit anything because you have the actual, like, there's no scan of the image in the Wall Street Journal article, and I wonder if that was on purpose. That you bait him into suing you, and then you're like, boom, got it right here. Yeah, got it right here. Well,
that's the thing. If he sues them, here comes discovery, and here comes this fucking picture.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and again, I think he's an idiot and wouldn't know that. And I think if you were trying to play him like a fiddle and take his job, you would know he would do that.
Yeah.
And you're fine with it because you just got into politics 5 years ago. And by then, Jeffrey Epstein was already in jail. And your name's not on a list. So you'll be fine. So yeah, go on Theo Vaughn's podcast and be like, release the list.
True.
Because you don't fucking care. Because by then, you're already next in line.
Yeah. And I really do think Trump just thinks he can buy his way out of anything and is untouchable. So even though he would know and his lawyers would be like, hey, this is going to come out, it's like, no, it won't, because I'm going to pay off all the judges and everybody that's involved and yada, yada, yada. So I read a comment on TikTok the other day that was like, regular people just can't do stuff anymore. Like, it's just like at some point your hands are completely tied because these billionaires just run everything and control it. And sadly, I think that's true. And like, it comes down to like, okay, but is the opposing billionaire, gonna be the one to like whistleblow? And because regular people just can't do it anymore. Regular courts can't do it anymore either.
You're right. You almost have to have this like power behind you. And I wonder too, if that's what happened in Congress, kind of simultaneous there with the Wall Street Journal article coming out. The Democrats were pressing for an amendment to this cryptocurrency legislation that would have required the release of microcassettes, DVDs, CDs, including a CD labeled Girl Picks Nude Book 4.
Oh, man.
Book 4 means there's 1 through 3 and probably 5 to 1,000.
And I hate the word girl.
Girl is not good. Computer hard drives, 3 massage tables, all this stuff. The Democrats tried to get this amendment added. The Republicans on the U.S. House Rules Committee voted down that amendment. So will not be released congressionally. But Speaker Mike Johnson says he does support release of the files. He says that the AG should, quote, come forward and explain her saying this list is on my desk and now saying it's not. So that's a pretty public breaking with the president that Mike Johnson hasn't done before. Meanwhile, they asked Trump, like, have you gotten a briefing on these potential things that might be released? He said, very quick briefing. And this is where we pivot. July 16th, we pivot from I'm not on the list, I never knew the guy, to I would say these files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden. And then he just changed the subject and started talking about Russia. Yeah. So he's then tweeting out like he's like, Obama made this hoax up about me. This is a hoax that was made up about me. So we've gone very quickly from there's a list. We're going to release the list. There's a list. It's on my desk. There is no list. There was never Epstein at all. It was all made up by Obama.
Yeah. And his formula sadly works for too many people. It's like these trigger words for his followers of Biden, Obama, Hillary. Like, you could just pivot to any of those and it's like everything else they have blinders on. And it's like, yep, like we all said, Obama, he's the one to blame for everything. You're like, nobody was even talking about Obama. He just threw that word in there and all of you just like activate like a sleeper cell because he's brainwashed you and like planted these seeds over the years.
No, it is. It's sad to watch just quite literally entire grown adults be drug about by blatant and obvious misinformation, disinformation. And you're right, it's concerning given the rise of AI, kind of like what that's going to look like for all of us. Good thing is there is metadata, which metadata would show that something was like AI generated. But today, Trump, in addition to tweeting, we had the greatest 6 months of any president in the history of our country, and all the fake news wants to talk about is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. He also posts an AI-generated video of Obama being arrested and saying, like, we should arrest him. This is what it's going to look like. And it's just this, like, weird break with reality that it's concerning, but
But
I
also
hope
he knows that he can post that and some people will think that's real.
Yeah, people, not only that, but they'll get excited about it and tell other people. And yeah, you're right.
He also posts AI videos of him with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders playing guitar and singing Journey with his shirt unbuttoned. So he
or Trump Gaza.
Yeah, he is completely, honestly, I think his days are numbered health-wise.
I do. Oh, I think so. I think when you start to show blatant, obvious signs of advanced stage dementia, not to mention advanced stage congestive heart failure with the hugely swollen ankles. I don't wish anything upon anybody. I'm just merely stating an observation I've made. And I would say, I mean, it's not he ain't living till Christmas. I'll tell you that. I mean, just like math wise.
Death waits for no one. So at some point it's going to happen.
I think so. So now with our updates,
God, I can't get over this note. And may every day be another wonderful secret. What are you talking about if not something disgusting?
I'm sorry. Just to take a counterpoint, Christy, that's a very normal thing to write
in
your best friend's card.
It's so signing normal. All my birthday cards.
Normal. We all say, "Happy birthday! May every day remain another wonderful secret." Another. Secret.
We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Why would you call out somebody by their name too? Like that's not how people talk. Yes, we do. Come to think of it, was this a conversation that they actually had that someone heard and like was like, oh, that's a beautiful thing to write? Did he write it? Is it imagined? Whatever it is, it's disgusting. And what I want to ask everybody that thinks these files don't need to be released is why? Why shouldn't they? And then give me like a reason that doesn't involve because we don't care about minors that were sexually abused and raped and trafficked.
Yeah, because I'm like, whatever reason you give, it has to be more important than protecting the most innocent among us, which are children. And for especially, I think, why Trump is losing his MAGA base with this issue is because I think genuinely the whole Save the Children, which was not the actual organization Save the Children, but this whole idea that there's these like online Wayfair rings that were somewhat attached to the QAnon episode we talked about, where, you know, you have attracted people who facially at least seem to care about children to your cause. And like secretly, not so secretly, the person running the cause is doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
At some point, if they find out the truth, if they genuinely were drawn to that for the protecting the children aspect, I'm hoping that will break the spell for them. Culture, a hell of a thing. I'm not sure if it will, but if there's smoking gun evidence, like it sounds like there is with these like CDs and cassette tapes and DVDs and whatnot, they will be released too. And like, I'm not talking about put them on the internet and re-victimize all these people or all these children, I mean, who are probably now adults, but like released in a redacted and respectful nature, but in a way that we kind of know who's been doing that.
And, you know, make everyone atone for their sins and pay the price of the immeasurable damage that they have done to thousands and thousands of girls.
No, truly. And I think the only way that there's more power than billionaires is just sheer mass of people. I mean, it's just there are more ants than there are grasshoppers. And you're right.
Have a revolution.
Truly, I mean, I think there's a number of these grasshoppers in charge, like these billionaires with a lot in charge. And what you were talking about of, well, my billionaire is doing this, so he's going to fight yours, where we have these like Godzilla versus King Kong fights.
Oh, God, Simon's favorite thing to play is Godzilla versus King Kong.
Well, and you have these kind of these large titans battling one another. And that is what JD Vance and Curtis Yarvin, who is the person's philosophy that JD Vance follows, believes, is that we should have technocratic states where techno billionaires run, instead of California, it's like Peter Thiel's in charge of District 1 kind of thing. And I'm not kidding.
Like
I mean,
the
that's
Hunger Games.
100%. And they think it should be the Hunger Games. So I urge you, if you think I'm full of shit, go out, look up Curtis Yarvin, Yarvin, and you'll see why I think JD Vance is very eager for the Epstein list to get released, because he is very eager to take his mantle where he believes it rightfully belongs.
Yeah. And, you know, while Trump is like the chief. By no means do I think he's 100% in charge. And if enough of those people are like, get him out of here, he's causing too many problems, put Vance, then all of a sudden we get these files. Will they be actual, factual, truthful? Who knows? It's hard to know what is real and what is not. And I think that the government only shows us peasants what they want us to see.
100%. Unless we do the digging ourselves. That's why we love journalists. So
yeah,
shout out to all the journalists that check our sources. There's articles and whatnot where we got all this info. Because
shout out to the Wall Street Journal for being like,
for real,
fuck you, I'm doing it. Because we do need big names like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like with this recent canceling of like the Colbert Show and the whole late night, company. And then it's like, why? Again, follow the money. Yeah. Because we're going to have this big merger. And also Stephen Colbert speaks out against the president. So now we're going to be silencing journalists and news anchors. We already have seen podcasters. We've already seen that just are like, we don't like what you're saying. So now you're out of here.
Yeah, and seeing that. Well, I love the solidarity amongst the late night hosts that Jon Stewart and John Oliver and Fallon and Myers and Kimmel, they all showed up to like the taping. But Trump tweeted out and said, Kimmel's next. He tweeted today. He said, I'm getting him next. And then Fallon's after that. He's trying to pick off the late night guys that make fun of him. And it's like, what are we doing, man? That we're going after the comedians? Stephen Colbert, who has the sweetest heart in the entire country.
Such a nice man.
I will fight you for Stephen Colbert.
I've never heard anyone say anything bad about Stephen Colbert. Like he's famously known as being a very good man, a very Catholic, devout Catholic man too. So
kind.
It doesn't matter if you're Christian or not. They're coming for you. But it is so embarrassing to see a man that's nearly 80. I don't know how old he is now, old as death. That's like, these bullies are making fun of me, so I'm going to take them off the air. How about we focus on stuff that, actually matters? I don't know, like healthcare. Like,
I would say my insurance doesn't cover anything ever.
Exactly.
Like maybe that. My student loan interest rates like crazy. Like, can we talk about these things?
Canceled that. The Department of Education canceled that whole debt forgiveness plan thing for student loans. So
crazy shit. Yeah,
it is. It is crazy shit, and it's overwhelming. It's like drinking from a fire hose to try and take it all in. So stay informed, but protect your mental health as well.
100%. And thank you for sticking with us and listening to us talk about Epstein. It always kills me when people are like, all of a sudden they turned political. I'm like, this episode was from 2019. This is like, it's episode number 66, buddy. Like, do the math here.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is just shit that's currently happening right now. So it seemed relevant to dust this one out. Because I think not everybody, you kind of hear Epstein and you kind of know what he does, but this goes from the beginning. So hopefully it was helpful with these updates.
Yeah. One more thing on the note of
hit it.
Being political, because I see so often on social media people commenting like, I don't get political or I'm not political. To that, I would say, what a privilege, first of all, that you can say, I don't get political because you don't want to bring up something that your friend group might not agree with. Not everyone has that luxury, but also everything is political. And I'm not saying that as like pessimistic, just like literally everything can be traced back to politics and your skin color, your socioeconomic status, like your age,
money,
your how you identify. So to say I don't get political is basically saying like, I don't have a personality. I don't have opinions about anything. I'm just a robot that goes through life, keeping my head in the sand. And like, what good does that do anybody, including yourself?
No, it's one of my, you're 100% right. And you're right. Anybody, if you're like, no, I'm not. Did you drink water today? Did you use the internet?
Yeah.
Did you use a cell phone? Did you drive a car? Did you put gas in your car? Did you go to your job? Did nobody sexually harass you at work? Like these are all things that are, you work at a place so you didn't get crushed by something at your factory. Like these are regulations written in blood, right? That we need. But you're right that saying, well, I don't get political. It's one of my favorite quotes by David Foster Wallace, who's one of my favorite writers, is like, don't kid yourself that staying home and not voting is not doing anything.
Yeah.
Because you being not political tacitly doubles the votes of some fucking idiot who probably does not have your best interest at heart.
No,
and so
certainly doesn't.
Just given the way, and it's like the great responsibility of being an American is that we don't live in a world where we go on autopilot, is that our forefathers came to this great nation, whether if it was 2 years ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 hours ago, or 200 years ago, we're all Americans because we're all here. And we came here because we want to make something of ourselves. So if you want to make it yourself, you got to do it yourself. So it sucks. I thought like, I'll grow up and I don't have to worry about all this stuff anymore. No, you have to worry. Like you said, take care of yourself. You don't have to make it everything, but you got homework. We've all got a little bit of homework to do. And it's like, I'm so busy and I can't. It's like the second you give up on looking at it is the second it's going to pull the rug out from under you and go, well, what do you mean this thing that I've relied on that my kid can't survive without is now being taken away, or that my mother is now going to be ill because of whatever. And it's like, I'm sorry to tell you that. And I hate to break the news. And we can only, because we have freer time, I believe I have freer time, I spend a little bit more time with it because I don't have kids. I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I can spend time looking at it. So I don't ever want people to feel bad that they can't spend time on it. It's like, just do the good you can do with the resources that you have. And if you can do a little bit more, do a little bit more to help other people too.
Do it. There's somebody in my neighborhood that has a sticker on their mailbox. If this is you and you've listened to this show, I want to be friends with you. I'm not going to give out addresses, but there's several signs in their yard that lets me know we are like-minded. But on the mailbox is just a sticker that says, have the day you voted for. And everyone walking down that sidewalk has to look at that. And I'm like, and they also have a sign that says, fight like your daughter's reproductive rights depends on it, and your children's rights depend on it. And if you've got kids, do you want them to grow up in a world when you're not around anymore to protect them that doesn't give a shit about them?
That's unless they're a billionaire. And here's the spoiler alert: they never will be, ever. They never. Your children, as you listen to this, your children are not going to be billionaires
unless you were born into it.
Yeah, exactly. Do the math. Unless you're a billionaire, in which case, why are you listening to this? Send us some money. What are you doing? We will redistribute it for you. We've already said we'd be really good at it. No, you're right. I saw a great T-shirt that said, "I want for you what you want for immigrants."
Yeah.
And what I want is for everybody to be happy, healthy, taken care of, helping each other out, taking care of themselves. And it's like, that's what I want. What do you want?
What do you want? Yeah.
And I hope you get it. I hope you get whatever it is you want.
Yes. Have the day you deserve. And
absolutely.
May we all get some answers and less questions soon. And
for Virginia,
for the good happen. I mean, we all came together over this Coldplay CEO thing. So we've shown that nothing has united the world more. Somebody was like, not since Pokemon Go has the United States been more united. I'm like, for real.
Tiger King. Really, it hasn't been since Tiger King. Yeah. We were sitting in Granbury at this barbecue restaurant, and these guys next to me were just like, hey, man, you been on Twitter? Did you see that guy? He said he got his arms around him at that concert. And he said he's talking about, it was so funny. I was like, again, you think and I'd be like, you guys want to release the Epstein files? And they'd be like, hell yeah.
Let's do it.
I was like, look, we have a lot in common. If we just get the billionaires out of our way, we actually have a lot in common.
For sure.
Goddamn.
We have a lot more of each other's interests at heart than they want us to think we do. That what would be the best thing for them is if we all turned on each other and a civil war broke out and everyone's fighting each other, so they stop paying attention to the powers that be and they get to do all the nasty shit they want to. We can't let them win.
Love your neighbor. It's the most radical act you can do, regardless of what your neighbor looks like or where they're from. Love your neighbor. It's the most radical thing. Shout out to James Tallarico, too. I feel like he's a Texan doing it right.
I love James Tallarico.
Embarrassing us on a national stage. Quite the opposite.
Oh, man. I am so for public shaming being back. It's one of the best things I've seen come back in a long time, where everyone's just like, fuck it. Like the people that like straight up like videoed and ran ICE out of town, like screaming, running down the street after him. I'm like, yeah, no one's coming to save us.
No, so I saw a lady today.
We got to save ourselves.
For real. She said a lady on TikTok was crying because she said, I was on a run. She was a white lady. She's like, I was on a run. And she said, I saw a horribly racist sign that was like a sticker that was put up near my Costco. And she said, I stopped my run and I ripped it off. And I was like, not in my neighborhood. And she said, this is why I run, so I can punch Nazis and racists. She's like, this is why I work out. She's like, I'm not trying to run a marathon. I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to fight for my
defend myself. Truly. So, but like things like that. Yeah. Even like, I wouldn't even say that's a little thing, because what a horrible thing to have like a racist sign up, do stuff like that. Fuck it. Yeah. What is somebody going to do to you? I mean, don't answer that, because a lot of horrible shit happens. Keep yourself safe, but also keep others safe, because like we say, at the end of the day, we're all just walking each other home. So
that's right.
Let's all be a little kinder and, do away with billionaires.
And don't ever stop asking for the list, and never stop mentioning Jeffrey Epstein. Because if anything, just for petty reasons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I want to have 30,000. I want to have 30,000 YouTube subscribers because of Jeff and Shalea and Twin Flames. And I want to also just say Jeffrey Epstein's name once a week, every week, until Donald Trump's dead in 6 months. So
every time somebody says Jeffrey Epstein's name, Donald gets a little closer to that heart exploding. So,
I mean, honestly, it's driving him crazy. It's driving him crazy. So share this episode with everyone you know.
Please do.
Like, subscribe, whatever you got to do.
Please do. Well, thank you all so much. We hope that you got the updates that you needed, and I'm sure there's going to be more.
And this wasn't even all. I mean, this was like a bare minimum of what you needed to know. I'm sure there's a million rabbit holes. But yeah, Becca Day, BekahDayy on TikTok. She's been doing a lot of good deep dives into these like side figures and how pertinent a lot of them are. Yeah. So check that out too. Where are you at online?
I am on Instagram and Threads at Christy M. Wallace, and TikTok at Christy or GTFO. Heather?
I'm on Truth Social at Real Donald Trump.
Oh my God. This is totally off topic, but just if you stuck around, first of all, not a word. If you stuck around for this, you get this little tidbit. For some reason, when Simon's stories on his Google Home stop playing, the show just starts playing.
No.
So our show,
no. Me?
So the other night, I was like, what is that? And I opened Simon's door, and it's just you going, Donald Trump posted a rant on Truth Social. And I was like, what the hell is that?
Oh, it was Alcatraz. He was listening to Alcatraz update. He's going to be like, you're going to wake up and he's going to have tunneled his way out of his room. Yeah. And he's like, what, Mom? I just listened to the Alcatraz update.
He'll just be at dinner like, yeah, well, we all know that Donald Trump, he just goes on rants on Truth Social. I'm like, what are you talking about? But you're right, too.
Oh,
subliminal messaging. This is how we get to them.
He's going to be quoting it. It like just plays in his sleep, so he doesn't even like consciously know it.
It's crazy.
Well, in case you're listening, Simon, you can follow me at Heather versus the World online, at Heather versus the World.
As always, the devil rules the airwaves.
Keep it creepy.
This episode of Sinisterhood is made possible with the help of our amazing patrons.
If you're interested in supporting the show, consider joining our Patreon. You'll get access to ad-free regular episodes, weekly bonus content, you're able to vote on episode topics, join our monthly live streams, and more.
Keep it creepy.
Mwah.